Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly Dungeon Master this evening. Tonight, we're having a very special character creation session for an upcoming campaign playing 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons. About 2 weeks ago, we played a one-shot session with everybody to get a feel for the game or for that edition of the game, to get everyone familiar with sort of the different roles that are played in there, and to get a sense of what the different classes could do as well. And also so I could actually run a game that I really love. So that was a happy coincidence. With me tonight is most of our usual regular cast, as well as one new addition, or I guess more correctly, I should say, a returning cast member. So I'll go from the order that you guys logged in. I'll ask you guys to say who you are, and then we're going to learn who you're playing in the course of the session tonight. So, Jeffrey?
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff.
Next up is Corey.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jeff.
And then next up is, I'll go from camera left to camera right. So, Dave? Oh, is Dave there?
Hi, I'm James. And I'm Dave.
Okay. Did I cut out again, guys? Yeah, it's the fucking internet connection.
I'm Brent, and I'm setting up that landline because this is sucking.
So what we're while we're waiting for Brent to set up his landline, as I mentioned, this session tonight, we're going to be making characters for 4th edition D&D. Now, normally, the way that we have created characters for campaigns in the past is, throughout the week, we'll correspond with each other, and then everyone will come up with ideas for their characters, and then we'll bring those characters together and figure out how everyone fits together. For this one, though, because 4th edition D&D has a very specific tactical kind of combat that actually implements roles for each of the different character classes, what I'd wanted to do is start off with the roles, everyone picking a specific role, so I'd have everyone, like each role in the game will have a specific person playing it, and then go from classes and races and create the characters from there. So in the course of last week, we had a bit of a stumble where I'm an idiot and started interacting with everyone, and as I started getting character ideas in, and then we found out that there was a problem where we had too many of one type of character and not of any types of other ones. So we have since that time done a kind of a redrafting of everything. So now we know what everybody is playing in terms of their roles. So what we have tonight is as the starting point for these characters. Jeff is going to be playing the leader role, or a character who fits the leader role. Corey is going to be playing a character who fits the controller role. James is going to be playing a character who fits the ranged striker. Brent, who has not been introduced yet because he's sorting out his internet connection, will be playing a melee striker. And then Dave will be playing the group's defender, the guy who jumps in and gets in the face of the biggest monsters around. So since that time, we've also had a chance to flesh out which class that everyone sort of wants to play in that role as well. Guys at Brent's place, can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, great. So I just want to make sure you're still following along. So what we've done thus far is we've got down that Jeff is going to be playing, well, you know what? I'll let you guys give the descriptions for your classes. And then, Corey, I'll help you out with that if you haven't had a chance to take a look at the Invoker.
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay, no problem. So, Jeff, why don't you tell us what class you've chosen?
Okay, so I am going to be playing an Ardent. An Ardent is a psionic character who uses emotion to control the battlefield.
Yeah, it's a really interesting character class from the Player's Handbook 3. And then Cork, so Corey had an interesting character concept in mind that's sort of like you said your character is like a living divine relic, right?
Yeah, it's some kind of prophesy. There's probably a prophecy surrounding my character.
Okay, so and actually that's going to work out really well for the campaign. The class that you're playing is from the Player's Handbook 2. It's something called an Invoker. And if you follow the link to the 4th edition wiki, it gives you information on there. But basically, I'll give you maybe the Player's Handbook 2 description of what the Invoker is. So the Invoker is a controller that invokes the power of a god to blast your foes from a distance, leave them unable to defend themselves, and scatter them to the 4 winds. Depending on your choice of class features and powers, you lean toward either leader or striker as your secondary role. So, unlike a cleric who has communes with a god and gets granted spells and stuff like that, you are a divine conduit or channel for divine power.
Awesome.
James, why don't you tell us what class you have picked?
I chose the mage from the Essentials book, and I took the School of Pyromancy, which was an article out of one of the Dragon magazines.
Yeah. So
all her spells are or get boosts when they're fire related.
Yeah. For those who may be following at home, a mage is normally a controller character, but James really had his heart set on playing a mage, so he's going to choose his spells and feats and stuff like that so that he's leaning more towards the striker role than the controller role.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dave, are you there?
Dave is trying to help Brent set up.
Okay. No, I will tell it, Brent. So Brent is playing the melee striker role, and his character is going to be a monk. And a monk is a psychic class in 4th edition D&D or a psionic class, I should say, that uses the power of the mind to amplify his physical attacks. It's this neat class that sort of dances around the battlefield, whacking people and so forth. And we'll get to Dave's in a moment because I'll wait for Dave to be back. We have also had some people choose races, but before I reveal those, what I'll do is, Cork, I'm going to ask you what race do you see your character being? Is he a human or is he some other kind of weird,
I'm thinking he's human.
He's human? Okay, cool.
The surface doesn't have
yeah, that makes it easy then.
ability to connect.
Oop. I think we've suddenly walked into a Saw film.
We're sorting things out. What a surface doesn't have is a.
No, I know a surface has no. It has no. It's like my Cintiq companion. It has only wireless. There's no Ethernet port.
So I'm going to plug it in. So give us a second here.
So we are.
And Dave's iPad also cannot be plugged in.
No.
His laptop does not have the plugins, and he can't add them because it's a work laptop. So we're going to go with James. I'm going to see if I can give James a camera. I've got a physical camera.
It's awesome. Oh, wait, James is on the call here. So let's see here. James may need to turn on his camera and his, what do you call it? There we go. Dave, you can turn your call off. James, can you hear us through your laptop?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we just need to turn Dave's iPad off because otherwise we're entering Feedback City. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mute that for now. Okay. Boom, that's done. Okay, so Brent, Dave, and James, you guys can hear us now? Guys? Seriously? What a gong show.
It would be easier to get a medium to contact a dead loved one than it is.
Yeah, seriously. I'm going to invest in a Ouija.
Well, I do think the Wi-Fi in Brent's, or any networking in Brent's house is sort of like using the spirit realm to connect to the internet. I no longer hear any sound there. I'm not sure.
No, I think that James just needs to. Oh, that's right. His mic may be off as well too.
I just have this mental picture of the Death Star hovering above Winnipeg and just shooting down.
Why can't we get any Wi-Fi? Boom. Oh, jeez. Hopefully they're reading their messages. You may need to, James, nod your head if you can hear us. Here. You can. Okay, terrific. So then, James, try saying something. Nada. So I think, James, go to the top of the Google Hangouts call. There's a little cog there. If you click on that, there will be options for your mic. Just make sure, try fucking around with those and see if by changing that, it helps you. You're also going to want to make noise while you're doing that so we can tell you if we hear something. Not yet. Anything else? Nope, still not yet. Jesus. So we're very close. If we can somehow get the audio from the well, no, because then the internet connection is going to be shit anyway. I think what yeah, you're not muted on the call, so it's something to do with the actual thing. When you go to settings, that cog, and you go to the mic, which is it set to? Type it. Don't say it because I can't hear you.
You know, it always happens. It's yeah.
Jeez.
Can anyone on the internet see our text chats?
Can see our which shots?
Text chats. Do they see that online when you go live? Do they see what you're writing?
Do I? Oh, the chat. That I do not know. Actually, I can't remember. I don't. Oh, I don't know.
The bubbles might pop up. I don't know.
Oh yeah, right. Because there's bubbles that go up as well. Okay, so here's another workaround I'm going to suggest, guys. Is Brent has a headset and mic there. So maybe try plugging the headset and mic from his desktop into the laptop, and then at least you've got a mic that can pick you guys up. We really should rename the podcast to be the Internet Tech Support Podcast. Thank you for calling live from the Sword Coast. Please describe the nature of the problem you're having with your internet connection.
Do you see the Rick and Morty where Summer got blown up?
Who did?
She got blown up real huge.
No, I've only seen a handful of them. They're pretty fucking funny, but I haven't seen a lot of them.
Yeah, Rick is away, so the mother is trying to use the machine, one of Rick's machines, to turn the daughter back normal instead of like calling Rick.
Yeah.
She sees there's a phone number on the machine, so she calls it, and there's like 3 little weird aliens that are taking the call, and they're just like, oh yeah, she's tech support. Okay, do you see that button right on the side of the machine? And she's like, yeah, and they're like, push it, right? And she pushes it, and a door opens, and 3 tiny aliens run out. It's the same guys. We're like, you're free. She's like, 3 little creatures ran out. Hello? Hello?
Jeez. All right. Okay, so maybe what we'll do while we are waiting for voice to come in from Winnipeg, let's talk about, okay, so Corey, what I'd ask you to open up is in the emails, you're going to want to have open the Player's Handbook, the first one, and Player's Handbook 2, because that will have your
account or to my Google.
It is one of the emails that was marked D&D. Jeff, you opened yours from that email, right?
Like I have all the emails here, but I'm just trying to find out which one it is.
Sure, it would have been, I think, the first one with that has all
the 4th edition campaign planning documents 2.
Yes, that's right, because I didn't attach it the first one.
Is the one with like most of the
no, I've got it here, but which one do I have to open?
The Player's Handbook and Player's Handbook 2.
All right.
Because the Player's Handbook will give you the rules you need for generating attributes. Player's Handbook 2 has the full rules for an invoker. And
the Player's Handbook 1 is an email called 4th edition D&D, 1 extra book I forgot.
So I'm looking at the Forgotten Realms Player's Guide.
Player's Handbook 1. And which email is that on, James? Or James? Jeff?
The Player's Handbook 1 is in the email called 4th Edition D&D, One Extra Book I Forgot.
Yeah, that was
it
sent
has
out.
Dark Sun Companion and D&D 4th Edition Core Rules.
That was on the 30th.
Yeah, you got that Wednesday, August 30th.
Okay, sorry, hold on, James. I'm a fucking idiot. The problem on your end isn't the mic, or isn't the speaker, it's the mic, right? Have you tried changing the mic? You're trying? What's that? Fish guts? What? I should tell you, I'm terrible at reading lips.
Fish guts.
Okay, so...
my sushi is here, so that'll just take me a minute. So I've got the player's handbook. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So I got Player's Handbook, OEM PDF.
Yep.
It's too large, so that's downloading now.
Okay.
And then what's the other one I need?
Player's Handbook 2, which I think is on the email I sent August 20. Whoa,
we are live!
Hey, look at that. We have everyone on now. Oh my God.
We are in space!
So what you need to do is change the gain on your... oh, no, it sounds like it's fine now. Nope. What is...
We are in the submarine.
Okay, so guys, why don't you angle the camera a little bit and then just give quick introductions for who you guys are. Okay, so I think what you want to do is maybe turn your volume down a bit. There you go. Are one of you playing a theremin? So please stop.
Wait, can you hear us now?
Say again, James?
Can you hear us now?
You're very quiet, but I can hear you. Can you turn? You might need to turn the gain on your mic. So if you go into the settings, you can alter the gain on your mic so that it'll pick up quieter things.
Yeah, I don't have that option.
If you go into the cog and then you go to your audio, it doesn't give you the option of adjusting the gain.
Oh, that's...
There should be a little...
No, just lets you choose what to use.
Well, you know what? Quiet is still better than not at all. So why don't you hear? You know what? I'll just ask again. You guys just to speak up a little bit, and then we'll deal with the audio issues between now and next week. So go ahead and say, James, Brent, and Dave. Why don't you give introductions for yourselves?
I'm Dave. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dave. James is our resident tech expert.
Yeah.
Brent, are you there? Oh, you just muted yourself. Yeah, now the problem is on the call. You muted yourself on the call. Yeah, you will want to unmute yourself.
It's by the cog. It's just it's the button at the top.
You're unmuted now.
There you go.
Okay. And then Brenda's in the background there. Okay, so all right, so let's we'll go to Dave now. So when I was doing the introductions with respect to who's playing what role, Dave, you are playing the defender, the big tough dude.
I thought I was playing the rune priest, Kev.
No. So we, of the two options, well, the sense that I got and that Jeff got was that you really wanted to play the berserker. And I had an inkling that Jeff would be interested in swapping anyway because he could find something interesting about the Ardent, and he was happy to do that. So actually, he has a pretty interesting pitch for you for if you're still going to play a Minotaur Berserker, which is the Defender class for Barbarian, or the Defender version of the Barbarian. Jeff, why don't you tell him what you had in mind?
So what I was thinking, Dave, is that I would also play a Minotaur, and we could make our characters either brothers or cousins or of some relation.
Lovers. I knew that had to come up. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. We could do that.
Okay. Does Brent have a copy of Heroes of the Feywild?
I do not.
Okay, so then, Dave, you're going to want to access the 4th edition wiki, because the version of the Barbarian that you're going to be playing is out of this book here, Heroes of the Feywild. I think I sent you a PDF copy of it as well, if you want to open that, but that's the version of the Barbarian you're going to want to be looking at, because it's a defender that can also act as a striker.
Okay, I'm calling it up right now.
Okay, I'm going to need you guys to really speak up, though, because I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Oh,
I can hear you, but I've turned my volume way up.
Yeah, if I turn my volume way up, I'm going to pick it up on my mic.
Okay. I've got Player's Handbook, Divine, Arcane, and Martial Heroes, and Player's Handbook 3.
Okay, so Player's Handbook 2 is on. Hold up here.
What are you looking for? Feywild. Hold on, I got it right here.
Oh, Jesus, where?
And I've got one too, but it's on my.
Okay, Kevin, what are you looking for?
I'm trying to find where I sent Player's Handbook 2.
No, what are you looking for inside? I'm already inside the book.
I'm sorry?
I'm already
No,
in
but Corey needs the information. It's he needs the Invoker class.
Oh, I thought you were looking for the Feywild.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the Heroes of the Feywild. I am looking for. Dave is going to want to find the Berserker, the Barbarian Berserker class.
You're looking at that right now.
Fantastic.
Hey, Corey, the same email that had the Player's Handbook 3 has the Player's Handbook 2.
Did you not send it to us in that PDF that had all those
Okay.
files?
Now, guys, here's what the plan is for tonight. We've started with the roles so far. What I want to do next is move on to your classes, which I think everyone actually has picked now. We're going to talk about your races, and then we're going to start talking about how the characters fit together. I want to do all the story stuff first before we start focusing on the mechanics of your characters. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah, but I can't find that email. Can you send it again?
It's the same one you were just in. If you opened up a copy of the Player's Handbook 3, then you have a copy of Player's Handbook 2 in there, is what Jeff's saying.
Yeah, but I
I'll
don't think.
just do here.
Oh, because Court,
There you go.
it's attached as a PDF. It's not attached as a Google Drive link.
No, I know that.
I resent it. I resent the chain to you.
Okay. 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 So what we will start with then, guys, is so the character races we're playing or we've got so far is an elf, 2 minotaurs, 1 tiefling, and 1 human. But the human is Corey, what are you sort of seeing your guy being? Is he like a reincarnated god? Or is he a fragment of a god? Or is he like a creation of a god, or what?
Yeah, I'm thinking like a fragment of a god. Like I imagine that in some other realm, a god was losing a powerful battle and had to like expel some of his energy to the material plane in order to preserve some knowledge or save something, and that manifested in me.
Okay, here's the thing with your character and with James's character. For both of you guys, I want you to be totally in the dark with respect to your origins. So I think that you know that there's something unnatural about you, and you've got, you've got some. You actually might be the only invoker in this game. You may be someone who like all clerics and paladins are like, how the fuck are you manifesting this power? Yeah. Okay. So.
And I was thinking my original idea for the character was kind of like the Last Airbender, where it would be a kid.
Yep.
Is that still doable?
Totally. Yep. Absolutely. What I'm thinking is that because I have an idea of where you came from that will tie into the campaign really well. And what I'm going to give you the option of too is you can feel free. You were talking about wanting to play like a mischievous or kind of a mercurial kind of character.
Yeah.
I want to give you the option to, you can play this character depending on the scene and depending how you're feeling. You could go really fucking nasty or really fucking altruistic and still be totally consistent with the source I've got in mind for you.
Well,
okay. So that will make you kind of unpredictable. Now, I'm also picturing that your character, because you sort of just manifested in this city or somehow found yourself in the city of Overlook as a child, you've pretty much like lived as a street kid for a time.
Okay.
Okay. And I think during that time is when you met with Ember, who is James's character. James's character is a tiefling. James sent me some. I've got some stories background that James has sent me so far, and that Brent has sent me so far. And Dave and I spoke a bit about the Minotaurs in general and sort of where he's thinking that he's coming from. So let's now talk about the Minotaurs. So I guess, like, first off, Brent, the elf obviously doesn't come from Overlook. You're not originally from here. You are from one of many tribes of elves that are from nearby. They're still part of a region called the Elseer Vale. It's just that you are not actually from Overlook.
Yeah, and I was sort of picturing my guy as orphan raised in the monastery.
Well, again, there's no monasteries. There's no fucking monasteries, man. I've talked about this before at length in my email. Let's remind everyone what time period we're playing in. So one of the things that is a signature of this setting, I really want to embrace 4th edition D&D's idea that there are only points of light. So like this is a very, very dark world where there are only some like remnants of civilization, and between that is savage, brutal, dangerous wilderness. And like it's the kind of world where, you know, a community could disappear over a summer or a winter rather, and then come next spring, it's suddenly just not there when the people, you know, the roads clear and people go out again. So the last great empire fell 100 years ago. The client kingdom that made up what is or basically like ruled kind of the Elseer Vale was a thing called Restalor, which fell 200 years ago. So you guys are even further into the fall. The monastery that would have been the source of your training and power and whatever else, like that's been gone for hundreds of generations.
Oh, I thought it was gone when he was on his walkabout. Sorry, I misunderstood when we were having that conversation.
Then you didn't read my email because I was perfectly clear in that. If you want, I can read it for you, so that so we're not like treading the same ground again. But this is something like the guys. I sent you those 2 poems, Ulysses and by Percy Shelley, and Ozymandias by Percy Shelley, and Ulysses by I can't remember who wrote it actually. It's not the James Joyce book, but I'm just going to hold on here.
By the way, I have both those documents open.
You have which?
Both those documents open.
So, say again, Cork. I didn't catch that.
Both the books, I got them.
Okay. So this is the poem Ozymandias. This is one of the things that is for me proving an inspiration for this campaign. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear: my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. So that's the kind of world that we're living in, or that we're going to be playing in, is where there were golden ages and empires of all these different kinds. There was a tiefling empire. There was a dragonkin empire. There was a dwarvish empire. The dwarves were enslaved by the giants, but that is all in very, very, very distant history. The Minotaurs used to have a great civilization as well too, but that likewise fell. The last great human civilization, the Empire of Nerath, was in a state of decay and collapsed 100 years ago. But at that point, it was kind of on rickety, legs. And then the gnolls came in. These demonic half-breed creatures came in and annihilated the civilization. The analogy I've been using in the emails, guys, is to follow the Roman Empire. And like some historians, and there's people who dispute it now, but some historians, the way they describe it is as if the lights in Europe all went out at once. Everything that was stabilizing and that propped up civilization was gone. And in that vacuum, suddenly just chaos and danger. And that's where we're playing. No civilization is in its apex. Everything seems to be in the descent. Your tribe, Brent, is because you guys were psychics. You guys were part of this ancient, very, very ancient order, and you guys all spoke this one language that none of the other elves spoke, and you prepared yourself against threats that none of the other elves really were aware of. But when you were on your pilgrimage, you went away the first time to experience the wider world, and that's something that in this day and age, elves normally don't do. They'll go out and find a life for themselves if they're an outcast, but a lot of times they're just sort of are busy taking care of their own. So when your character returned from his, the Japanese word or phrase is mushushugayo. So when you returned from your mushushugayo, you found your tribe annihilated. Giant burn marks, some massive creature cutting its way through, and the artifact that your tribe kept was stolen. What this also meant is that, so you really had nowhere to go other than maybe some other tribes, but because your tribe was kind of the weirdo one that followed this ancient psychic tradition, no one else wanted to take you in, or at least were not welcoming to you. So even if they did take you in for a time being, it was clear that they didn't want you there and that they thought your beliefs were weird. So you returned to your allies back in Overlook.
Yeah.
So Dave and Jeff, let's talk about the Minotaurs now, just briefly. So where do you see these the Minotaurs coming from? What kind of like, they don't have a standard civilization or like a city or something like that right now. They're living either amongst the other races or they're like nomads or something like that. What do you think? What speaks to you?
They run a corn maze.
They run a corn maze, yeah.
Well, I don't know what Dave was thinking because he has talked to you about this a little more.
Yeah.
I hadn't confirmed I was going to play a Minotaur until I checked with Dave.
Sure, Dave. Tell us a little bit about how you're seeing the Minotaurs? What's your sort of idea for your character?
Well,
Dave, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to swap places with James because I can barely hear you right now.
Sure.
Sorry, the mic's having a hard time picking you up.
So, you know what we had discussed before, Kev? You had sent me that Dragon magazine.
Sorry, Dave, can you lean in again? I'm sorry, I still can't hear you.
Not bad, eh? How about this?
That's a little better, yeah.
You remember when you sent me that the Dragon magazine with the Rune Priest write up on it?
With the Rune Priest write up, the Sohei?
Yeah, it had the Minotaur. And it was almost like the Mongol steeps.
Oh yes, yeah. Okay, the Steplands nomad.
That's it. That's basically that was kind of what I had envisioned for my Minotaur.
Cool. No, I love that because that's sort of what I like. The way I'm picturing them is because the Minotaur Empire is actually a little different from the others, where while it did fall, it was really more that you were expelled because the Minotaurs sort of they collapsed before the Empire actually did, or their kingdom or whatever. And the reason is because more and more of the Minotaurs turned to the worship of Baphomet. And Baphomet is this demonic, savage, bestial demon lord. And the Minotaurs, rather than following their older traditions, like I think you said you thought Moradin might be a cool god to follow, rather than following those more, contemplative or whatever traditions, they started following that. So maybe your tribe is the ancient descendants of the outcast, basically. As the majority of Minotaur culture turned to Baphomet, you guys fled and developed this nomadic culture instead.
Yeah, that sounds really like a good tie-in to what I was thinking.
Okay, and I guess, and one of the, that actually, okay, so one neat idea that Dave had from the Minotaurs was that they tattoo their bodies, right? And we were talking about them looking like labyrinthine kind of, you know, swirling, intricate things. And maybe that's the way that they maintain their connection to a labyrinth, even though they're not living in one anymore. That's the way of them embodying the labyrinth, or the sort of the labyrinthine nature of Minotaur building and structures and stuff. How's that sound?
The whole idea was that it allowed them to kind of ground themselves back to their tradition and their heritage. It was kind of a permanent physical marker for them.
Yeah, that's great, because they're, you know, for a tribe of people who are forced to live in a giant flat wasteland, right? That would be a really interesting way of making a connection to. It would be a huge change from the way they used to live, and that would provide that connection. Jeff, how does that sound to you?
That sounds great to me. I like it.
Okay. And I think what we were talking about for Jeff is that your character has a what do you call it? Is part of an order that, again, like Brent's monastic order, is older than your race can remember. There always have been these types of psychic warriors that are there, and you are one of those, and maybe one of the last members of that sort of that tradition. Now, Dave, we were talking about this with Jeff. Jeff and I were talking about this on Wednesday when we were figuring out with you if the Ardent would be a good fix for him. One thing I don't want to have with any of the characters is have any meaningful connection to something else. I want everybody to be an adventurer because they've got nowhere else to go. So do you think there's either a reason that you guys were cast out or left, or do you think that your tribe was annihilated?
Well, actually, if that's the case, Kev, would it make more sense for us to be collaborative, or is it possible that we came from opposing tribes?
Sorry, what's that?
From opposing tribes.
I didn't catch that. From
opposing tribes.
Oh, you know, type it out. I can't.
Opposing tribes.
Oh, opposing tribes. Oh, that's interesting. What do you think, Jeff? What do you think of that?
That could work too.
Because if we did that, then there definitely wouldn't be any connection between the two of them. The connection could very well be that they're just not necessarily adversarial, but maybe competed for resources, or just different lifestyles, and now they're kind of forced in the same place, and where there's not necessarily animosity, it's not. There's a bit more distance between the two than one might assume. Like, people are like, "Hey, you guys must be brothers," but they're like, "Yeah, no."
I can tell you part of the reason that I was thinking it would be interesting if they were some kind of blood relative. Well, one, I wanted to play a large-sized character, and so Minotaur's one of the options. But the reason I thought it would be interesting if we were related is you're playing the meat shield, and I'm playing the healer, and it would make good gameplay reason why I'm always looking out for you and using my heals on you if you're my brother or my cousin or whatever. I mean, if you want us to be antagonistic to each other, that's fine, but just so you know, you're the meat shield and I'm the healer, and if I don't like you, that makes, like, for maybe different gameplay mechanics in-game.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I didn't actually realize that. Yeah, it actually, now that you mention it, it doesn't make sense for us to be, for us to not have a close relationship.
Excellent on the mic, guys. The mic
how
is
about this, Kev?
now.
No, I can't. James is kind of tweaking the speakers, so can you say again?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're getting feedback, though.
It was good for a minute.
Yeah, it was good for a moment there. Talk again, guys.
How about now? Can you hear anything?
Okay, Okay, can I make a suggestion, guys?
Sorry, what's happening is I have to turn the microphone up and the volume off. So when he's talking, I have to turn the volume off so there's no feedback.
Okay, so
vice versa.
Brent, do you have external speakers at all?
Yeah.
Let me try it again. Brent, do you have any external speakers at all? Or those mics that you had before?
Yeah, you know what? If he's got the plug, I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because that might be a way to work around that.
Son of a.
This is like a band rehearsal.
Seriously. This perfectly captures the character creation stuff. So sorry, Dave and Jeff, carry on. I didn't mean to interrupt there.
No, you know what? Just completely correct, Kev. Like it doesn't make sense for the dynamic for him to have a reason to follow me around and heal me if there's any disparity between us. So maybe how about this? My character is just so grossly unstable that Jeff felt that he needed to follow me around. And the reason for leaving the tribe is simply that he just wasn't safe. Like he was kind of ostracized by his own tribe for being just generally psychotic.
Can I make a suggestion, guys?
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry. So what if the feeling of the tribe is that you are marked by Baphomet? That's what your savagery and whatever else is, that you're on the descent, and that's what they, that's what because they left that whole thing. They're like, no, you're on the route to savagery right now, so you cannot stay. You absolutely cannot stay. And Jeff, maybe if you're his brother, you're like, look, I'm not leaving him on my own.
On his own, right? If we wanted to make it very interesting, like the barbarian could be kind of a very aggressive and, like you said, temperamental or explosive type character, and the ardent is a much more happy-go-lucky type character. We could even do a really interesting like yin and yang thing where like we're even twins, like and most of the Minotaurs have brown fur, and maybe like Dave has black fur and I have white fur, or like something like that, like more. So we really stood out, and like the tribe was like, this Minotaur is cursed, and I'm like, well, I'm going with them, and so we were sort of banished from the tribe.
What do you think, Jeff or Dave?
I love it. That's really cool.
Okay, cool. Okay, so then so that explains why you guys were gone and why you guys came to Overlook. Overlook is a city of about 17,000 people. It was founded by dwarves back in the Age of Chains, which means the time when the dwarves threw off their shackles and drove out their giant masters. Now, one of the things that obviously that you guys needed to do when you came here is Minotaurs are, at the very best, they are a minority. They even may be like really unusual to see there. The things you guys were good at was, hiring on as mercenaries, but you would have lived in the shittiest of shitty neighborhoods, which is where I think we bring James's character in here, because James's character he was living a bit of a shitty lifestyle at one point too, but then decided to become a mercenary. Now, James, the story that you had sent me was that Ember showed a bit of a flair for magic, which was recognized by another mage, another tiefling mage, right?
No, she was working in a tavern and ended up being courted by a tiefling mage patron and ended up apprenticing to him.
Okay.
After the courtship or whatever.
Oh, sorry. She was after the courtship. She was dating him. Whoa! How's that working now, guys?
So good.
Better. How about better?
Okay. Okay, so sorry. So you actually had like a romantic relationship with this guy.
Correct. And she, in a way, sort of used him to learn magic. She learned from him, but the relationship didn't. Oh my goodness.
That's crazy. So she learned from him, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so I'm picturing it's a bit of a May-December relationship, right? Like he was significantly older than her.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the thing. So there is going to be something that had happened between them. There's some magical mishap, but it's not because she was like too powerful or whatever else. But there is. Do you want it to be, for story purposes, do you want it to be something that was an accident that was her fault, or something where she was told not to do something, she did it anyway, and then something happened?
Initially, I kind of thought it was more she had done something to displease him, and he lashed out, and she defended herself.
And she, sure, is she witch, James?
She defended herself basically, and I guess pushed too far and accidentally killed him.
Okay, so what happened instead? Instead of the, I mean, something did happen to him, but what ended up happening? And I like that he finally got abusive about about things, because again, it's a dark world and whatever. It's not a really pleasant and happy time. What happened is that same thing happened. Like he was trying to do something. I don't want to make it rape, because it's just like that's gross, and also, but maybe he just he got fed up with like the final time of maybe her like her lipping off, because it sounds like she's gonna be a bit of a vocal character. Is that right, James?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe she lipped off one too many times, and finally he was like, "That's it," and kind of tried to like wield his massive whatever else power. She grabbed whatever was at hand in his thing and hurled it at him. At the time, he was trying to unleash this incredible arcane power. And what ended up happening is he just kind of like vanished. And that thing was shattered, but he just disappeared. You were able to grab, I think you probably ran from there before anyone caught you, because you needed to hide again.
Yep.
And fortunately, so, and then what ended up happening is do you think you went back to like living the streets, or do you think you went back to working at a tavern, or what?
I guess probably living back on the streets for a short period of time.
Okay, so that's when we're bringing in Corey's character. So while you were back living in the streets again, you encountered this little kid. Cork, tell us about your character.
Well, I was imagining that he's basically this conduit of power, and understands doesn't have a plan, but understands in the moment what he needs to do. Like, okay, he's a very like a storm, like maybe he'll be angry with purpose on one occasion, and then very good on the other.
Okay, I want the character to have some reason for staying with this group. So what do you think that reason is? Is it because of this connection he made with Ember?
Even though he's this conduit of power, he's still a kid, so he needs protection.
Okay. So is there, James, is it wrong to think that, having been, so recently in a place of no power, that maybe she recognized someone who was in a similar position?
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay, so maybe she was.
I imagine that my character does not know where he came from, or has never met his parents, or
like, does your character, Corey, your character suddenly express does he suddenly express knowledge that he didn't seem to have before?
Well, yeah, of course. That's exactly what's been happening to him.
Okay, so
it's happening more frequently now.
What I think you're going to be is actually we're going to use a race called the Deva as your race.
Okay.
Because they've got a neat racial ability, which is like once per encounter. The mechanics are the once per encounter they get to add, when they make a skill check, they get to add 1d6 to that skill check. And cool. It's manifesting. They're like, the way the race is written is that there are these immortals who are reincarnated over and over again, and they got all these past lives that they tap into. But I think mechanically that would fit very cool for your character.
Nice.
It also means that you've got a couple languages. So like you've manifested fresh with speaking all these different languages too.
So this is a reskinned Deva?
Yeah, to reskin Deva. We'll be using Deva, but we're just going to make it look and sound the way you describe your character.
Yeah, cool.
But
So he's a human kid?
He looks like a human kid. He looks like Ong from The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and
I can compete with that. He's a way better monk than my character will be.
I'm not a monk.
James, what I think for your character too, if you want to make it more ambiguous, his relationship with Corey's character is that it's a mixture of this, like, not maternal necessarily, but like just that it's someone who is clearly could be lost or taken advantage of or whatever else, but it's also someone who has a phenomenal amount of power and potential. So if your goal is like, I'm going to put this group together and inflict my will, that's a way to, like, this is a great person to have in your pocket, right?
Yeah, but I'm also looking at the fact that we both probably have similar backgrounds where he doesn't know his parents, she doesn't know his parents, so they kind of already got common ground in that regard.
Yeah.
And maybe I was like staying with another group of people, and then some enemy force kind of honed in on my power, and I had to escape, and they got slaughtered, and that's when I ran into you.
Yeah. Because we're like, the neighborhood that you guys are from is not good. It's a very dangerous and shitty part of Overlook. And I think that's getting back to where the Minotaurs are. So I think Dave and Jeff's character, maybe that's where you found yourself, was in that thing. And James, were you thinking that you had mentioned in your email that you thought that Ember would be sort of the leader here, right?
A little bit. She's got a bit of a take charge kind of attitude.
Yep.
So I'd see her voicing her opinion a lot. Might be contradictory to the groups. She's smart, so she thinks that her way is the better way.
Okay. So would she have been the one to approach the two Minotaur brothers then?
Where's that creeping up?
That would have been Dave's character and Jeff's character.
I think so. Yep.
Okay. So then for Brent, I think that you came in after the four of them were together. And I think that the way that you guys, so you arrived in Overlook to start your Musha Shigayo, and you recognized, so and you didn't know, like, first time in a city, you didn't know what the hell to expect and whatever. I think that there was sort of like a fortuitous meeting between your character and Jeff's character, and where you each felt a weird kind of like psychic resonance off of each other. And when you met, you sort of, it's that weird kind of like, when you can feel someone looking at you in a room. I think that's the feeling that you guys got from each other, where like, you arrived in something and then you felt a stirring in the empathic field kind of, Jeff. And then it's when you saw this monk, and the Brent actually can circulate a picture of his character as well too, because he's got pretty cool, what do you call it? A pretty cool picture of what his guy looks like. But there is a symbol that he uses as well. It's a key implement, or it's a key focus. It's the implement that monks use, and it has some sigils or symbols on there that are very different from anything in your order, but there were some things that were similar to the markings of your order, Jeff. And then when you approached him, Brent, you recognized that some of the symbols on this giant, light-colored Minotaur's things are similar, if not identical, to the markings that you saw in, like, your order's holy teachings. Or not holy teachings, but the philosophical treatises. So I think maybe that's the initial thing that intrigued you, and that's maybe what led you guys to actually adventuring together.
Right, it would have started the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think maybe when I came back, I just picture him as sort of as lost and directionless right now, and probably quiet.
You know what's awesome too is that because Jeff's character is so empathic, I think he would like that would ring like a gaping hole, right? Like a draft blowing through a room. He would see the defeat that would that just radiates from you.
Right, his emotion would probably be what I would notice.
Yeah.
And he would probably, you know, if he arrived in a tavern or something that we were in, or a marketplace, he would definitely feel my my ability of like to affect emotion psionically. Like that's something he'd be sensitive to.
James, you had mentioned your character was the background you were thinking of for your guy was like a rogue scholar type, right?
Initially, but I ended up sort of going with choose your own adventure, create your background thing from the Scales of War thing. Yep. So they had sort of like 4 charts, and you selected one from each one. So I had done that, and
well, how would you describe it? Give me a one-word descriptor or a phrase descriptor of what your background is. Because here's the thing, it needs to be unified. If it's just a mishmash of just random stat bonuses, you're not going to use them.
No, it wasn't anything like that. The background basically, it had like parentage, so I'd select orphanage. Early life, it was well loved. Pivotal events, I killed my mentor. And then recent life, and it was like team building exercise.
Okay, the reason I want to know a little more about what you would describe that is, okay, what are the skills that you took as bonuses for that?
All I got was training and bluff. That's it. Or sorry, yeah, training and bluff. I added the bluff to my my class skills.
Okay. Are you trained in history or arcana? Are you intending?
I'm trained in both.
You're trained in both. Okay. The reason I ask is because I'm curious if you would have, like, when you were living with this older tiefling, and we'll give him a name at some point, when you were living with him, would you have been the type to go through all of his collection? Like, would you have been familiar with what thing you threw at him? Were you busy learning how to be a mage?
I think I was probably more leaning towards learning how to be a mage.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. So, so that's how you guys got together, and you guys have adventured for, you guys were adventuring together for a while. And I'm going to, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of a prelude thing here. We're still not going to do your stats yet, but I want to describe one of your, one of the key adventures that you were involved in. And this is after, Brent, after you've returned as well. Okay. So in Overlook, there is what's that, Jeff?
Can you stop for a second? Can we name our characters now?
Yes, please. If you guys have names for your characters, let's get them.
I'd like to start referring to them by the names so I can start learning them rather than like our names.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Okay, so we got the tiefling's name is Ember. Does Ember have a surname, or is it just the one name?
Just the one name.
Okay. Brent, your guy has a name, I think.
Yeah, I've got indecisive, but I think I'll go with Halen Dawn.
Let me just, I'm going to set one clear rule here, guys. No one is having fucking rhyming names. What? No more dash pash.
Damn it. No, you mean I can't be Halen, he can't be Galen?
No, otherwise they both fucking die. Okay, so Brent, what is your character's name?
Halen Dawn Chaser.
Halen? Okay.
Halen.
Okay, I think I remember from the email. Okay,
Dave,
do you have a name for your character? Dave, do you have a name for your character?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Jeff, do you have a name for your character?
Halen?
Halen.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's what I wrote.
Okay, either Jeff or Corey, do you have names for your characters?
I'm just looking through a list of baby names now.
Okay, cool.
Xavier.
Sorry, Xavier?
Xavier.
Okay.
Xavier?
Like Professor X?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff and Dave. So, do you guys want to use any of the sample names out of Player's Handbook 3?
Well, yeah, I'm actually just.
Here are some of the Minotaur names, guys. Asteron, Jorcus, which is with a B at the front, Codrus, Fustus, Goban, Jack, Minron, Nusteron, Podrus, Tyrios. Any of those either strike your fancy or give an idea where to go with it? It sounds like they're kind of like halfway between like classical Roman names and halfway between like Viking names.
None of them really kind of stand out for me, but
it's funny. Xavier means the new house.
What about Oberon?
Oberon?
Oberon, yeah.
Like the Fey Prince?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's just, you know, we've had the last time someone played a Minotaur in one of my campaigns, they named him Porthos, like after the Three Musketeers. So, Oberon, does that help at all with your naming, Dave?
Say again.
Does knowing that Jeff's character's name is Oberon, does that help you with your name at all?
I suggested Tatiana. He disagreed.
Yeah. Then we enter the discussion of whether Minotaur females have 2 or 6 boobs, so or teats, I guess technically.
Why you gotta objectify my character like that, Kev?
Not objectifying, simply describing physiology.
How about Durogar?
Duragar?
Yeah, Durogar.
Yeah, the trouble is there's a race of degenerate evil dwarves called the Duragar. So that's like naming yourself, you know, Dark Elf or...
Yes, because that's what he eats for breakfast.
The nameless one.
Well, how about this, Davey? If you like kind of the sound of that, we could just change it up a little bit. What about Drugar?
Dungar.
That face tells me no.
Yeah, I'm
Not feeling it.
No, it looks like you bit into a shit sandwich.
Discuss amongst yourselves. I'm working on it.
Okay, so we'll talk about that. That's the only one we need right now. So, this is again after you have after Brent's character's returned from his tribe. You guys have been working as caravan guards and whatnot for the last maybe month or so, and you finally got an opportunity to get a gig with this organization called the Elseer Consortium. Now, the Elseer Consortium there's a number of different power groups in Overlook, but the Elseer Consortium is a group of merchants that are sort of banded together. Overlook is actually, I could show you. Hold up, I got a pretty good map. Now, I'm sorry, I should have actually uploaded this fucking thing, but I think my new camera has got a high enough resolution, so you should be able to see it pretty well, as long as it doesn't gray out. There you go. How's that look, guys? Okay, so what this is Overlook is right there. Oop, right there.
Yep.
And then these are the, let me try moving my fucking hands, and maybe it'll focus in. There we go. The Stoneholm Mountains are right here. So these massive, giant, ancient cliffs here are a bastion between the rest of the Elseer Vale and these blasted wastelands that are full of spawning orcs and other kind of nasty humanoids. In the peaks, oh, there we go, refocus. On the side of where Overlook is, there are a number of kind of dwarven communities, and you guys were hired basically to escort 2 Elseer merchants up to check on the status of this mine at a place called Urgaz. Cakewalk job. I mean, like it was early enough in the season, so you're not expecting orcs to be, a problem. Orcs really only present a problem in Overlook once, like a serious threat, once every 100 years. They do it like clockwork then, unfortunately, but at this point, there hadn't been any expected trouble. So you guys carried along with these guys. You made your way out there, but when you got to the mine or to the settlement of Urgaz, the whole place was abandoned and seemingly like overnight. So the miners said, well, like, look, we need to look around and we need to find more. So you ended up going down into the mine. And while you were in the mine, you found this giant arch thing, which seemed older than anything else, like older than any of the other structures, but with a massive crack in it. The thing that really sort of struck your interest or piqued your interest for Halen and for Oberon is that the markings were very similar to the markings of your orders, either the writings of the Minotaur Order or the writings of the Elvish monastic order. Unfortunately, one of the what do you call it? One of the I guess hold on. One thing before that, as a reminder, in 4th edition D&D, you don't have detect magic as a spell. You can, if you're trained in Arcana, you can use that to sort of sense the ethereal forces and whatnot. And Ember, you did so because you've learned one of the lessons that was taught to you by your master / lover was look before touching. So you were in the process of sensing this thing, and it had a distinctly similar aura to some of the older artifacts that your master kept in his laboratory. And in addition, one of the things that I think you know about the Elseer Vale itself is that it is notoriously close to other planes. In fact, the operating theory that you may have is that Corey's character actually fell through one of these holes and found himself in Overlook. He actually may be a denizen of some other plane that got, that fell through and somehow transformed into a human or a human-looking boy. But anyway, you saw this and but there also seemed to be flaring aspects of wild magic with this, where not like Forgotten Realms type wild magic. I mean, just like uncontrolled surging power. This was not a stable connection. But as soon as that, what do you call it? As soon as the merchant started trying to look at it, something happened. And when you guys awoke, 2 of the merchants were dead and one of them was missing. You also noticed afterwards that each of you carries with you a very distinct magical signature that doesn't seem to wear off, like a residue. Mechanically, guys, what this is that you have found over time that sometimes without warning, you will just drift off to another plane. Your character will be absent. You seem to stay together. As long as the group stays together, that person will reappear eventually, but without warning, that person can just vanish. They have no recollection of where they've gone. They have no recollection of what happened while they've been there. They don't have any understanding of what time has passed in between, but they're just gone. So on a metafiction level, the reason that that's important is because when someone's missing from the game, that's what's happened. I want to make sure that every time we meet on a Friday, we're playing this campaign. So if a character's missing, that's what's happened, is they have disappeared. So the actual campaign itself will pick up shortly after you guys have returned, because after you guys returned from this thing, not surprisingly, the Elseer Consortium is really not fucking keen about working with you guys anymore. And when the most powerful group in town is pissed at you, pretty much all the merchants are pissed at you, except for the ones where you really don't want to fucking work for them. So, which is the reason why you guys have left. You're traveling along this route called the Dawn Way, or the Old Dwarf Road, to travel to a place called the Keep on the Chaos Scar, where you've heard that money and riches and whatnot can be found, and hopefully you can try and maybe build up a reputation that will, enable you to work somewhere in your hometown again.
Okay, so what you're saying is we've left Overlook.
You have left Overlook, but what I want to make sure, we're going to talk, as we get some more particulars out here, we're going to do some more, and between now and the next session, I might send you some more information, because you guys do still have, you have friends, you have, I'm not sure anyone's got family there. Let me think here. No. None of you guys have family there, but you have friends there, or you have people who cared for you. Like I think, Corey, there is a priestess of Erathis who helped you for a time as well.
Yeah.
Someone who was kind to you. Dave and Jeff's character, there may have been a Minotaur or two in town as well that you may have made some contacts with. James, your character grew up there, so he would have had, or she would have had, sorry, clearly at least some people that she knew, or maybe enemies. And Brent, I don't know, like there are some Eladrin in there as well. Do you think that your character would be seeking out elves, or would the reaction of the other elven tribes have sort of soured you on trying to find, you know, a place with your own kind?
I don't think he's in a position yet to start looking for a new home. I think he's sort of still sad and just,
yeah,
you know, not wanting to go, hey, new family. He's just trying to still deal with the loss.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So that explains why. So we know why everyone's together. We know why you guys are. You know, what's going to explain why, if someone is not able to make a session, why they're not there. There will be no XP penalty for that, incidentally. I'm not using the official XP rules. I'm using the milestone rules out of 5th edition and Pathfinder. So you will be gaining levels when the story says it's appropriate. Yeah, so we don't need to. You don't need to worry about the being behind in XP, and the level that everyone is going to be it's like Shadow of the Demon Lord, where the party has a level. When the party is level 2, all of your characters will be level 2. When the party's level 3, and so forth. So I have some specific questions now for you guys in relation to each of your characters. So let me see here. And this is going to be to tie some connections to each other. Okay, so James, we'll start with you. So I'm going to give you a couple questions here. Pick one of them and then answer that question. Okay? So first one is, so either you will, or not either, one of these, you will pick another PC. Each of these starts with pick another PC. So just bear that in mind. I'm not going to read that over and over. You worry that she is trying to get a look at your spell book, but you don't know why. The next one is, you once accidentally turned him into a tiny, insignificant creature. Though you were unable to revert him, he eventually turned back to his normal form. If you don't like that, you could say that it shunted to the other plane accidentally with one of your powers. Pick another PC. That character is related to you and apprenticed under you. I don't think that's a good fit for here.
No.
Or pick another PC. Every so often, when you cast a spell, that character later reacts as if she had an allergic reaction. She doesn't know the cause of her affliction, but you do. You're still debating whether to tell her or let her suffer in ignorance while you work on a spell to cure the condition. So which of those sort of speaks to you, and which other PC will it be?
You know what? Let's go with the spell book. That one PC is trying to look at my spell book.
Okay, who's that?
And sorry, read that first one again.
The first one.
Read that one I selected.
You worry that someone is trying to get a look in your spell book, but you don't know why.
We're going to say Hallen, the monk. Brent's character.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So since we tagged off to Halen, let's go to him next. Brent.
Oh, he's not here.
He's not there. Okay, so then let's go to actually Dave next then. So Dave, again, you're going to pick another PC and pick one of these questions to answer. It's not a question, but you know what I mean. You feel, so choose one other PC. You feel strangely protective of that character and don't want to see her come to harm. Or pick another PC. That character knows a secret about your past that is tied to your frenzy ability. Or pick another PC. The first time you went into a frenzy was in an attempt to save her. Oh, saved her from an attack. You failed partly because of your inexperience. Or choose another PC. He is terrified by your rage and sometimes can't help but flee at inopportune times.
Well, I would say either the first or the last, and I think those would apply best to Jeff's character.
Okay, which one do you think it is? Do you think? Well, I don't think he's terrified of you. That doesn't seem to strike his character. He seems, from the way Jeff's described, he seems really protective. So,
I'd be terrified of you.
Here's another option: is that maybe if you want to add another layer of complexity to it. What if the first time that you went onto your full-on fucking scary rage that got you kicked out of the tribe was to save his character?
Sure.
Because that kind of puts the blame, it's kind of, depending on whether he put himself in danger or not, maybe Jeff's character feels partly to blame for the reason for you being kicked out.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah,
Jeff, how does that sound?
Fair. I mean, the reality is if he lost his shit like that, anyways, he would have been kicked out. But I guess, yeah, if that
I think it would be really interesting to make it that both characters sort of experience their powers or their abilities similarly. Like maybe Oberon was really pissed about something or really upset, and his emotional abilities basically caused them to get into trouble. He was projecting and he started a fight or whatever, and Dave's character was forced to defend him and went into this sort of rage, and it's what got them kicked out. So like both of them sort of experienced their powers the same day.
Oh my God, what if it was your power that drove him over the point of that to that insane rage?
Yeah, that would be good.
Dun 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 dun.
Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so that's that's fucking cool. Okay, so that puts the connection to
Kev,
Dave Brent. Yeah.
I have a name for my character if you.
Sure. Yeah. What's his name?
Rakus Bloodhoof.
Rakus?
Yeah, Rakus.
Blood thief?
Bloodhoof.
Bloodhoof. Okay, I love it.
Right.
That makes more sense.
So then I'm Oberon.
Also
If you want to steal it, I think like spraying it around with a giant axe is probably not the most effective way to get it. Okay, so Corey.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's four options here. So here's the connections you can pick. Pick one other PC. You were a drunk or otherwise lost to questionable practices until this character plucked you out of the gutter and cleaned you up. You found your calling after that. Or pick one other PC. You're concerned that her spirit is bound for darkness. Or pick one or more other PCs. You say a prayer for them you say a prayer for each of them every day. They may or may not know or care that you're doing this. Or pick one other PC. That character has confided in you that he doesn't think the gods are real. You're not sure how to deal with that.
Number one.
Number one, okay. And am I right in thinking it was Ember?
Ember is the sorceress?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was that first one for him?
He was a drunk or otherwise lost to questionable practices until you found him. You plucked him out of the gutter and cleaned him up. Then he found his calling after that.
Okay. I thought it was the other one that he thinks that someone is falling to darkness.
I could have been like literally living on the streets, eating like garbage and rats and stuff.
Oh man! In which case,
I love it if you're a rat eater.
Completely feral.
Yeah, and that's maybe where you saw more of yourself in there too, James. Eh?
No.
Well, because you were a street kid too.
Well, yes, but I wasn't eating rats and shit.
If you're a street urchin, yes, you would have. Like street urchins don't get to go home and have a snack, man. Like they're fucking street kids. Remember, this is a medieval world.
I'm smart. I would have found a way. I would have stole bread or something.
So we know that Ember has blocked out a certain part of her childhood already. Okay, so Brent, Choose one of these. So pick one other PC. He seems to believe that the only true weapons are those that you can hold in your hand, and he might look at you with disdain. Or pick another PC. This person seems incredibly unaware of her body and always happens to get in your way. If you miss your foe and accidentally hit someone else in close range, it's likely to be her. Or pick one other PC. You once trained with a close friend of his, and you owe that mutual friend much. Or pick two other PCs. Once these two heard about your skills, they expressed interest in being your students. However, only one seems to have any aptitude. So which of those seems the best fit?
The fourth one has potential, but I'm leaning towards the first one and going with the barbarian, Dave's character, who fights with a big-ass weapon and thinks it's dumb that I sometimes use a spear or just like punch people.
Okay. Yeah, I love it.
Maybe I could see both of the Minotaurs laughing the first time they saw me like go up to a big beast and punch or kick it.
Yeah. Okay, I love that because that's you guys.
Well, actually,
yeah.
I could go with both of James is saying he think that's funny too. How common are monks? Maybe everyone thinks his combat style is different or absurd.
They're crazy. They're relatively rare. They're like I think you've maybe heard about other, like, people have heard of monks before, but like there isn't an order in Overlook. I don't think anywhere else in the Elsyr Vale there's any other monastic order. I think that when you talk to Jeff, is one of the skills that you're thinking of getting training in going to be history?
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially, yeah. Okay, so he may or may not have heard of Minotaurs like ages ago in his order that used to practice that, but I think they've died out. So really, the Minotaurs only, like, their way of expressing or training in psionic power is as a scion, as a battle mind, or as an ardent.
Well, maybe what if we reverse it instead of which character treats him with disdain, have Jeff's character not treat him with disdain because he has an idea of psionic power, where the others would think it's just absurd, the fact that, yeah, he has a spear, but just as often he punches or kicks like a giant demon.
Whereas Oberon would understand that he's like the psionic capability.
Yeah. Okay, so that's super cool. Okay, cool. I love that. I think we've got everyone's connections, right? I'm not forgetting anybody. Did Rakus? Oh, I didn't do Oberon yet. One sec here. Sorry, Jeff. I wasn't trying to forget your character there.
No worries.
While I'm looking this up, does anybody have any questions at this point?
So this is an established setting?
Nope. It's something that we are. It's loosely based on one of the default settings for 4th edition. Something they came up with just for the edition, but I'm making some pretty substantial changes to it.
Okay.
So it's really going to be kind of custom built around you guys. I guess that's one of the reasons why I wanted to use a custom setting for 4th, is because we can build it to fit what your characters are capable of, rather than trying to shoehorn a different edition into a previous edition's setting. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so I think these are going to be appropriate questions, but if they're not, I'll find other ones, Jeff. So pick one other PC. You have found that this character is particularly tuned into your mental powers. While you're in short range of him, the two of you are always in telepathic contact. Or pick one other PC. She is what you might call a loud thinker, and her thoughts sometimes come to you when you're within short range, even when you're not using any kind of ability to try and contact. You can't seem to turn this off. Whether you tell her or not is up to you. Or pick one other PC. For some reason, he seems to act as an antenna for your mental power. If the two of you are touching, You can extend the range of some of your powers. We'll figure out what the mechanics of that will be if that's the one you want. Or pick one of their PC. Your close mentor or teacher once used mind control on her and forced her to do something against her will. To this day, you haven't talked about it, but you are both intensely aware of the connection.
I think I'm going to go with the antenna one. And I think I'm going to make it Xavier.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I think that would make an interesting connection between my character and Corey's to sort of unite the Minotaurs with sort of the Ember Xavier half of the party.
Yeah.
That for whatever reason, Oberon, I mean, maybe he hasn't even discovered it yet at this point in the game. Like, that might be something that we can let naturally happen in gameplay.
Okay.
Like, whether all of a sudden I'd go to, help Corey move him out of the way or protect him, and when I touch him, I feel this sort of change in my power. And it's also interesting because Xavier is this, like, fragment of a god or whatever.
Yeah, whenever something weird like that happens, I'm imagining that my character visibly, like maybe cracks show up around his eyes and glow,
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting connection.
Like smoldering embers just start coming off my body, or sparks or something,
Yep.
Well, and also in the description of the rule book, the Ardents have sort of a Krona or a visualization of their emotional power, if I remember correctly. So maybe when this actually happens, like, my sort of Corona mixes with whatever this visual element that happens from your character.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So that gives us. I think that we're at the point now where I'm confident that you guys all have an idea of who your characters are, what your connections are. One side thing before we go to the mechanics here. One side thing, I love that the party is sort of going to be the melee guys all seem to have connections with each other, and the range guys have really strong connections with each other. Because Xavier and Ember are going to be fighting at range, whereas Oberon, Rakkus, and Halen are all going to be fighting, scrapping it up close. Although Halen may be bopping around to, back and forth. Okay. Cool. Excellent. Okay, so now James and Brent, I think, already have your characters fully built, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Brent, you have sent me your character stats. James, if you could send me your character stats as well, that would be perfect. And I will upload. Go ahead, Brent.
I was holding off choosing one of my at-wills until to see what other people were doing, and then.
Well, why don't we do this now?
Questions about it daily for the other people here too. So, or actually more for you and James, but.
Unfortunately, I've got two people. So Brent has got some great experience with 4th edition. So does James. Why don't we? I need to run to the washroom and get some more water right now. Why don't maybe James, you help Cork with his character for the moment. Jeff, how far along in character creation are you?
Well, I got my stats down to 2 choices, and I haven't picked any of my powers yet. But that's
okay.
it.
One of the things I want to tell you too is, as a reminder, you guys have, and then so James help Corey, and then Brent, if you could help Dave with his.
Yeah, for sure.
So he's willing. Do you have an electronic copy of Heroes of the Feywild now?
Yes.
Yeah, I gave him all my PDFs.
Awesome. Okay, so Dave, just to give you a nutshell, and forgive me if I'm telling you stuff you already know about this class, but the really neat thing about the Berserker is it's the only class that can do double detail. So you can act as the defender, as the tank, right? Where you're giving penalties to things that attack anything other than you or try and move away from you. But you can also rage out and then start doing a lot more damage with your attacks than you do normally. But once you do that, you can't go back to a defender again. So you kind of got to pick your moments for that.
Okay.
Okay. So like I think the example I used in one of my emails was during the fight, like when it became evident in that last fight against that undead dragon, that Brent's character couldn't lock that thing down with his aura, or at least it wasn't meaningfully do that, what you could have done then is said, like, look, I'm not, tanking is useless right now anyway. I'm going to rage out and just start fucking trying to burn this thing down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could we also go over people's themes and background choices?
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. So let's
I mean, you go to the washroom and we'll do that when you get back.
I'm going to the washroom and get some water right now too. Either Brent or James, why don't you guys just give a rough idea of what themes are and what backgrounds are and how they fit in 4th edition, and I'll add my 2 cents afterwards.
All right. So the quick and dirty mechanical wise is backgrounds give you access to a couple skills and will give you a bonus to a couple skills for the most part.
No, they don't give you access. They give you access to a skill. They'll put a skill on your class list,
Right.
which allows you to get training in it, or it'll give you a couple of buffs to 2 skills.
I thought it did both.
No, it's one or the other. So you can either choose to gain training in one of those skills. You can choose to get +2 bonus to one of those skills, or you can choose to get a +1 bonus to both of those skills.
Because there's some in the particular
I know
Dragon
they-
magazine that says you can add the skills to the skill list, but counts as one of your skills, and you get bonuses to other.
Yeah, no, they changed it. That basically, yeah, they do. You can put the skill on your skill list, but you still have to spend if you have to have some training.
And these are backgrounds you guys are talking about?
Yeah, we're just, I guess there's been some errata. And then a theme is a bit more, it's like a secondary role, and it adds some extra, you get 1 extra counter ability at 1st level, and then you have an option of taking some of those, their abilities as you level in place of your regular class ones.
Not all themes do that. Some themes give you other options. Not all of them gives you some sort of power.
Hello? Was that me?
No, for some reason my microphone keeps increasing by itself.
Okay, yeah, laptops will do that to you. Those sons of bitches.
Oh.
Okay, so and the other thing, in addition to the mechanical bonuses that are granted from themes and from backgrounds, is I am going to let you guys use them as role-playing features as well. So if you have a background or theme where you think that there's not a specific skill that you're trained in, or you've got a skill but your theme would particularly fit that, I will let you either gain, if you're not trained in a skill, gain +5 to your roll for that particular instance, or you'll gain a +2 if you are trained in the skill. Now, I'm not going to do it every time. It's not going to be, hey, I'm a rogue scholar, so I get +2 to all my history checks in addition to being trained in it. But for situational things where there's gaps in the rules, I want to use themes and backgrounds to fill those in.
Hey, Kev, for backgrounds, I guess there's been some errata from when I played or went through them in the Dragon magazine. So it's, you either can add a skill to your list or get a bonus for others, not you add a skill to your list of possible, to your list class list and get the bonus?
You either add a skill to your, you get add a skill to your class list, you gain +2 to that skill, or you gain a new language.
But no, there's also, you either, when you get access to you usually give you 2 skill options, and you can choose to take, you could choose to, add that to your skill list.
Yep.
Or you can add a +2 bonus to that skill.
Yep.
Or you can add +1 to both skills.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No. You can add, so you can gain another language. That's the other option you can get with the background. So does that clear it up, Brent?
So yeah, I either add one skill, you either add one skill to your list of possible skills you can get trained of, or you take the 2 +2s.
No, you take 1 +2. You take +2 to a skill, you get it as one of your class trained skills, or you gain a new language.
Okay, but you still have to spend a slot to train in it, correct?
Correct.
what it does is it allows you to play. If you want to play a fighter trained in Arcana to start off with, that's what backgrounds were designed to do.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about the themes. What we got here?
So normally you do a theme first.
Yeah, well, we can do a theme first. So let's go to whoever finds it first on the D&D 4th Ed wiki. Let's send the themes link around.
Oh, I have it open.
Do you have it? Okay. Oops.
Yeah, I can send it. And that was for you, James, that last message.
I saw that. Thanks, Jeff. I haven't been able to use it yet, though.
Whoops. That's the theme link.
Okay, so character theme. So now the themes are in one of the it's Dragon Magazine 399 is where most of them are.
The background link.
And there's some other neat ones in there too. Corey, do you have an idea of kind of what you can either create your own background, you can look at a list of the backgrounds and grab one of those?
Could someone else who's more familiar with it just find out which one fits my existing thing
Sure.
we talked about?
Hey Corey, let me ask you this: did you like the ability that your mage had in the last session, where he could once per encounter he could re-roll the roll again?
Yeah, that was cool.
Because that's the theme for that is Ghosts of the Past, and that might fit your whole shtick.
Okay.
Let me I'll pull that one up. Where is it?
Like I'm all for like being involved in making characters and stuff, but
Yep.
like, I even pre-generated characters I just love.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna be super picky on this. Whatever we decide is a really good idea, I'll go with that.
Well, how about this, Corey? Then what I'll get you to do is I'll worry about your stats for you. Take a look on Player's Handbook 2.
Yeah.
Take a look at the so there's two types of divine covenants that you can pick from. One of them is called the Covenant of Preservation. The other one is called Covenant of Wrath. Now, what the Preservation gives you two different abilities. One of them is that when you use an encounter or daily power, you can slide an ally 1 square. So when you use one of those things, you automatically get to slide one of your allies, so you move them 1 square in any direction. The Wrath version of that is when you use a divine encounter or daily power on your turn, you gain a bonus to damage equal to 1 for each enemy you attack with a power. So the more enemies you hit with your power, the more damage you do.
What do you think?
What do you see? How do you see his divine power manifesting?
I could go either way on this, but
Okay.
I imagine that when his divine power happens, he basically like blacks out and like becomes his purpose, you know?
So how about do you see him being more wrathful, like when things piss him off or when things attack him or whatnot? Is he like is his instinct to lash out in attack, or is his instinct to try and protect allies?
I would say lash out and attack.
Okay, so then I think that's the Covenant of Wrath is what you're going to want.
Okay.
Okay. So and then what you need to look at then, Cork, is just take a look at the green at-will powers. They're on page 103.
Level 1 at-will powers, Avenging Light. You smite.
Yep. So you're going to pick 2 of the at-wills. You're going to pick 1 encounter, and you're going to pick 1 daily. So take a look through those, see what look what sounds coolest, and then just let me know, and then I'll build the rest of the character for you. Jeff and Dave, how are we doing on your characters right now?
We're just going through some of the options for the barbarian.
So one of the things that I would say is that I would suggest sticking with just to streamline things, stick with Heroes of the Feywild for now, because the at-wills in that are the only ones that get a benefit when he frenzies. All the other at-wills from the barbarian, all the other barbarian books, do not have that benefit. So to take advantage of that actual very, very cool power, just look at the ones in Heroes of the Feywild. You can always, I should say too, as you guys gain levels, you are free to change everything about your characters. You can change your powers, you can change your feats, you can change whatever you want. The only thing we can't do is once you get Paragon tier, if we ever get that far, you're not going to be able to just swap out all your heroic tier abilities for Paragon ones. But what I want you to be able to do is try out some things. I want you to try shit out, and if it doesn't work or you don't find it's synergizing well with what other people are doing, we'll just change it.
Okay, I'm thinking Sunstrike and Divine Bolts.
And Divine Bolts, okay.
And then I get 1 encounter power, is that right?
1 encounter power, level 1, and 1 daily power, level 1. And Dave, how are you guys doing?
Good. We're just kind of going through some armor options.
Some armor options?
Yeah, just he's got different types of builds here. Whether one berserkers you go no armor, or one goes armor and shield.
Yeah, okay, for the different things. You know, actually, one way to streamline that, you just said that you're from the steppes, right? So that's one, because I think your armor choice is dictated by what region you're from as a berserker.
Yeah.
Astral Terror.
Astral Terror. Okay. And then 1 daily. Jeff, how is it going for you?
Good. I'm just looking at the themes.
Okay.
Does anyone have any good theme suggestions or background suggestions for my character?
For your character, let me take a look at the list here.
I mean, honestly, right now, I'm not even sure about a theme. That's really...
There is a theme called Hospitaler, which is a leader-focused divine theme that flavors a character as a designated caretaker of the sick, weakly, and injured.
Purging Flame.
Purging Flame is the daily?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Excellent. I'll pick some feats for you, Cork, and then if you want to change these, you can feel free to do that. And there may be, if there's ones where I'm not sure which way to go. One thing I want to ask as well is do you see yourself carrying a rod to use your power like a 3-foot kind of staff, or do you see it like a full-on staff is what he uses?
Maybe like an adult-sized staff.
Adult-sized staff? Okay. Okay. So that just tells me what your implement is then.
Maybe it's got some kind of ancient history to it as well. It was given to me.
Okay. Okay. You will also get, Corky, your character is trained in rituals as well. Oh, James, thanks for sending me the character.
No problem. That's the whole thing.
Where do I find the rituals on here?
Let me get, I'm going to send you a link, Cork, that has a list of, and what you can do is the ritual list, you can organize it by level, and you're going to pick, I think it's 3 divine rituals. So hold on here. Let me get to rituals. Fuck, where is it? I guess, Jeff, for your theme, what do you see as sort of, the other aspects of your character? Do you see him, like, I guess one way to think of it is, do you want to find a theme that complements it or that opens up new areas for you? Because that will help you narrow things down.
Probably something that opens up some alternate aspects of the character.
Okay, so then it's. Do you want to open up towards defense, towards doing more damage?
Well, we have quite a few strikers.
Yep.
And maybe defensive, because yeah.
I just sent
Actually,
you the
well,
list. Sorry, Cork, I just sent you the list of rituals.
Okay.
So just click in that, and then under, you'll see there's headings in it. Just click on the level one, and it'll organize it by level, so you can see all just the first level spells or first level rituals. And then the key skill is going to be religion. Find 3 of them that have 3. 2. I think it's 3.
Although Rakus has switched to,
Sorry, what was that, Jeff?
was just saying, if Rakus has switched to using his frenzy and has moved to a striker role, it's probably because we need to dish damage. So I probably wouldn't then move to filling his defensive role.
Awesome. Okay, Cork, pick 2 rituals.
Out of this list, I can pick any 2.
Any level 1, any 2 level 1 rituals that have the religion as the key skill. So if you click on the little arrow under level, it'll organize it so it's all first level.
Alarm.
Alarm is an arcanum. You'll see the key skill there is arcana.
Yeah.
So it's the ones with the key skill of religion. That's what you want to pick.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Jeff, I interrupted you.
Well, I was just deciding on a secondary, like a
the theme. Okay, so let me take a look here. So if you want to go with a defender one,
Continual light.
continual light. Okay, James, which rituals did you go with?
They're on there, but I chose. Where are you? Unseen servant.
Yeah.
Comprehend languages and amanesis.
Okay, cool.
Light ward.
So continual light and light ward.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right. Then themes. Let's see here.
What does Fate Dancer do?
Fate Dancer is out of Dragon 401. Let me open up Dragon 401.
I could give that a Minotaur-based flair instead of like fortune cards, but something else.
Yeah.
Does light ward block dark vision?
If you click on it, what does it say? Sorry, where is?
What are you looking for?
Corey, sorry, light ward is a level 3 ritual. You got to pick a level 1.
Oh shit! What if it only covers 2 squares?
Oh, and you know what? Yeah, continual light is not a level 1 ritual either. The ones that you can choose from, Cork, you're a little limited in. You can do purify water. You can learn create holy water, or you could brew a potion.
Oh god.
They're kind of balls.
What kind of potion?
Any level 1 potion.
Okay, potion.
Okay, so brew potion.
And what was the other one? Purify water?
Purify water or create holy water. Holy water is kind of like alchemist fire, but against undead and demons.
Holy water.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so Jeff, I'm looking that up right now. Let's see here. Fate Dancer, Fate Dancer. Where are you? Fate Dancer, here we go. So the benefit, you have 2 fortune cards in your hand, which, yeah, it's like a sub-game thing.
Wow, religion really.
Yeah, it's balls for first level stuff.
No kidding.
Yeah, we're gonna ignore that one, Jeff, just because it requires the use of this whole separate deck, which seems like it would be a royal pain in the ass to track. What about let's see here. Okay, so we've said that your characters, you come from a nomadic steppe society. Because Dave is taking the steppe nomad theme. Ooh. Screech, screech, screech. Sonic attack.
Is that on the list?
It is, but I'm wondering whether, I'm not suggesting that's a one for you, but what if you add, what do you call it? Chevalier, which is out of Dragon 399. And what it does is when you're mounted, and here's the thing is, there's going to be, a mounted character only has certain uses, like it's only going to have certain opportunities to use those abilities. So taking a character with a mounted ability in a D&D game is going to be a fairly restricted character. There will, like, outdoor relatively mobile opportunities or encounters are where you can make great use of your those abilities. But like in a dungeon or in a building or whatever else, mounted characters are kind of shit.
So that's how you play deal.
So Dave's choosing a class from the Feywild book.
Yes.
So what about a Fey Beast Tamer? What's that?
Fey Beast Tamer. Where is that from? The Heroes of the Feywild as well?
Heroes of the Feywild supplement.
Yeah, sure. Let me take a look here.
Because it might give my character a little bit of a Feywild flavor as well to kind of fit with Dave's character.
Well, I mean, like, his character, we're not necessarily tying to the Feywild. Yeah, his powers, the character class is from here, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's linked to primal power, but not necessarily the Fey realm. But hold on here. The thing is, we can also reskin this shit as well. Yeah. So let's see what it actually does first.
Well, you have a little beast. You have some kind of a beast companion.
Yeah, you have a blink dog, a displacer beast, a Fey panther, or a young owl bear. And you gain it as a Fey beast companion. Yeah, and then, like, it has hit points equal to your bloodied value. And then you can choose to have it take an action instead of you, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the way it works. So, yeah. So basically, there's a ranger build called a hunter that I think it's, or maybe it's Beastmaster. But in any event, there's basically it's a pet, and then instead of you taking your standard action or your minor action or your move action, your animal can instead.
I see. Okay.
There would be also like, you could do shit like, get the owl bear to go and, open a door or whatever as well. And you would have, I think, a closer connection to it. You wouldn't have a connection to it the way that a wizard does with its familiar, but you would have a more meaningful connection to it than what you did with that, or what Dave did with his hawk pet in our one shot.
Right. Wait, what were the other options? It was a displacer beast,
a blink dog, a displacer beast, a Fey panther, or a young owl bear. And again, like, these are just stats. We can reskin it as something that will be an appropriate step thing. Like, a displacer beast could be, actually, I mean, a displacer beast could be found on the steppe as well too. They hunt in tall grass and shit like that anyway. So that's completely appropriate. A blink dog happens to hunt displacer beasts, so again, it would probably be in the same ecology. A Fey panther we can reskin as a, an Elseer panther, right? Like, it's something, because of the weird connections to the other planes here, it could be that. It's a fey touched or a planar touched or whatever. And as for the owl,
I could see my character having connection to animals like that.
Sure, with the emotional aspect of your character, the empathic thing, that's cool. Plus,
Right, like maybe he finds, calm in spending time with his.
Summon, say the ally. You basically get a house guard.
So which do you think of those kind of speaks to you most? Do you want like a more of a brutish kind of thing, like an owlbear, or
No, more like a Fey Panther or something like that.
Okay.
HP.
So whatever, we can reskin that, but.
So here's what the Fey Panther, yeah, and that could just be like a a grasslands cougar or something like that.
Right.
And so what its ability is it has an aura 1, which means while in the aura, enemies cannot gain combat advantage against the Fey Panther's allies. So as long as your cougar is near you, is within 1 square of you, enemies cannot grant, or sorry, as long as the enemies are within that aura, they can't grant you can't get combat advantage, or they can't get combat advantage against you.
Oh, that's just pretty cool. It's just a nice little benefit.
The blink dog or any ally in its aura can use a move action to teleport to another square in the aura. So it allows you to sort of redirect yourself around the blink dog. The Displacer Beast gives +1 power bonus to all defenses while in the aura. And the Owl Bear gives +2 power bonus to damage rolls against enemies while in the aura. I mean, the Owl Bear doesn't necessarily have to be an owl bear. It could be, I don't know, what would be a small little fearsome
koala bear.
Is an owl bear?
Oh, koala bear.
Koala, not a koala bear.
No, this is like from the plane, right?
Its aura would
be more like in the badger family.
Yeah, like like a Wolverine or something.
Oh, that might be cool too.
Hmm.
But I think that the cat family, I like that it's a cat.
Okay.
So like whatever kind of cougar we want to call it, or whatever we want to.
Do you know what a Displacer Beast looks like?
Kind of like a cat, right?
Yeah, it's like a cat with these giant like tentacles. It looks like an emaciated, like freakish looking cat, but yeah, so that'd be cool. I mean, what that means is, no one, basically, if the enemies are in your aura, they can't flank you.
Yeah, let's go with that. I like that, the Fey Beast Tamer.
Okay, Beast Tamer, cool. I love that.
Or so it would be like Plains Beast Tamer or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we could just make it the empathic Beast Tamer.
Yeah, that's cool too.
Does this thing get summoned, or is it always there?
It is always there.
It's an actual animal, yeah.
Okay, my character's terrified of
it. Nice. So Cork, so that's an example of what themes can do to a character class. They can kind of make them work in different ways. So if you want something that's a little more interesting or adds a little more story stuff, Cork, I'm happy to try and find something that fits.
What do you mean for my theme?
For your theme, yeah, because the theme the one that your mage had last time was time lost characters or ghosts of the past. It meant, but I mean, there may be something else that is more interesting for your character.
Okay, what do I got?
Well, I sent you. Oh, I didn't. I sent you the rituals. I'll send you.
You could always give them the Seer theme from Dragon 399.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Well, gifted with unusual abilities, perceive things hidden by distance or uncertainty. Seers are prized by advisors by powerful people throughout the world. They might call themselves astrologers, fortune tellers, readers, augurs, diviners, or soothsayers, and each employ a favored technique for prognostication. So they kind of see the future a little bit.
Oh yeah. The Seer. Okay, so I actually used that for Brent's character. Remember when he rolled 3d20, and then those were the next 3 rolls for one of the characters?
Yep.
It's that, and then I also added that he got a ritual that allowed him to. Remember, he was able to ask me one question.
Yeah.
That's what your character could do too. Is you could see briefly into the future.
I'm not sure about that one.
Okay. So other ones, I sent you a link to the descriptions of the themes, but I guess, are there elements of or aspects of your character that you think are not necessarily covered by the class that you've got so far?
No, I think everything seems to be in line.
Okay.
But okay, so tell me more about that theme again. The thing is, the rolling the next 3 rolls for another character, it doesn't mean they're going to be high rolls. Like if you get all 12s, I mean.
Well, what that means is that you can predict. Like I think the value in that is you can predict it. So if you know, let's say the rolls are a 5, a 12, and a 17. You know, I'm not going to use one of my encounter abilities or one of my daily abilities the first thing because my roll is going to be shit. So you're going to use that
for me as well.
You can do it for yourself or for someone else.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
You like that? Okay. Because it was cool. Remember what the way Brent role played it was that he stopped whoever it was and he looked in his eyes and then he's like, okay, and then he knew what the next rolls were going to be.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I'll add that one in Seer for Xavier.
Does that only work on allies or does it work on enemies as well?
James, do you have Seer open right now?
Yes, I do.
Does it only work on the oracular thing, the roll 3 times? Does that only work for allies or for enemies as well?
One ally.
That might be circumstances that could be.
There you go.
Then the first round of combat, I'm going to be friend foes.
So you can do that in combat or outside of combat as well. Like let's say you guys are going to go into the skill challenge where you're going to roll a bunch of dice a bunch of times. You can use that then too.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Jeff, let's swing in back to you. How are things going on your end? Remember that you get, in addition to your normal, so you get 1 feat as a first level character, you also get 1 free expertise feat. And I should check. James, did you use that as well?
Sorry, you use what?
You get 1 free expertise feat.
Oh, no, I did not apply that to Ember at all.
Yeah, so just slap. Did you take an expertise feat as one of her feats?
Oh, no, sorry. Yes, I did.
You did? Okay. So, sorry, you picked one of them or you picked the free one?
I picked the free. I got the free one, and I selected staff.
Another one, perfect. Okay, cool. Because I know. Brent, did your character take the free expertise feat too?
Yeah, and so for monk, would it be versatile or implement?
Would which be? No, Brent. Okay, no. Don't use your books because they have shittier versions. What you want to take, Brent, is one of the free expertise feats from the Essentials line because they're way fucking better.
All right, I'm not familiar with those. And
okay,
James showed me that some of the,
you don't get to pick one of the versatile feats. You get to pick only in your case, if it's key focus, it's key focus. You're going to have expertise in key focus, which I actually don't think there is an Essentials version. So I think all you're getting is +1 to attack rolls with your key focus.
Okay, and I think I can use a weapon in place of a key focus, which is
absolutely
fine.
Yeah. Right. Yes, I think so. It doesn't matter because, like, for all your powers do power damage, not weapon damage.
Yeah, the weapon damage.
Yeah, so it's just descriptor. So,
okay, hey, I got a question for you and James. Just working with Dave's character, you guys have more experience playing this. One of the possible abilities for a barbarian is if he hits with an at-will, he slows the character. Given that his defender aura is a radius of 1, would that be useful in keeping them from inside his aura?
Yes, it would, or within range, depending on what weapon he uses. The other thing is remember that the defender's job, right, is to keep things occupied. By slowing it, at worst, what it's going to do is going to move 2 away. Because slow doesn't have movement; it makes it have a speed of 2. So even if the thing gets away, it's only going to get 2 away. And here's an upside: you know what space you need to do a charge? 2.
Oh, okay.
And a Minotaur has their racial ability, I believe, is a charge.
Right.
So does that help answer the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Dave,
Yeah, Jeff.
what kind of weapon are you fighting with?
I was thinking like a tetsubo or like a mace of some sort.
Okay, cool.
Take a look in the Adventurer's Vault because there's a really badass weapon called a Mordenkrad. You have to take a implement expertise, or not implement. You have to take a proficiency in it because it's an exotic weapon, but it does 2d6 damage, and you get to re-roll ones.
Right. It's the same thing as a maul, except for the re-rolling of ones. But is it really worth spending a feat to re-roll ones?
Yeah, we had a player who played an Avenger who used a Mordenkrad, and yeah, it makes a difference.
The other thing is, as a defender, wouldn't he be better off using with the shield to boost his AC?
It depends. Depends on how he wants to play his character. If he's just using a one-handed mace or something like that, then the feat he's going to want to take is going to be bludgeon expertise, because as his free feat, bludgeon expertise gives you +1 to attack rolls, and if you have an ability that pushes or slides an enemy, you increase that by 1.
What about a Craig hammer then from Adventurer's Vault? Would you think that would be if you went one-handed?
Is that that's a one-handed thing? Let me take a look here.
Yeah, so basically it's got brutal 2 instead of 1. And instead of doing 2d6, it does 1d12, I believe. And
yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, it's 1d10 damage and brutal 2. And actually, you know what? That would be pretty good because it's versatile, which means that you could cast your shield aside and then use it and do +1 extra damage with it.
Oh yeah, and then he's got the bonus 2, so that would be +3 damage. Okay.
Because if you're going to go into striker mode, you're really not worried about people hitting you any longer. Plus, you have the biggest pool of healing surges of anybody. So if you happen to get hit a couple extra times, as long as you survive that encounter, you're going to be able to take a short rest and regain all those healing surges. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. All right. So let me think here. So Corey, I'm going to build your character for you. Jeff and Brent are together. Sorry, not Jeff. James and Brent are completed. Jeff, how is yours coming along?
Hey, Kev.
Yeah, Brent.
I might switch. James just showed me themes I didn't realize exist, so I may switch my theme.
Switch your feet?
Theme.
Oh, your theme. Okay, yep. Yeah,
I'll get back to you.
You wanted to be a Sohei, or you were a Sohei?
Yeah, and then James had just introduced me to the Unseelie Agent and another one from. There's 2 in Heroes of the Feywild that might interest me.
Okay, cool.
And one would basically cause my fist to glow and enhance my unarmed attacks. So that might be interesting. Anyway, I'll get back to you.
Okay. What I'm going to ask is I want any finished characters to me by Sunday, please. If your characters they should be together today. If you've got them written up in a physical format, just take a picture of it and send it over to me. Because I want to have those characters done this weekend. Next week is pretty busy for me. And between now and the end of the month is going to be a lot of fucking work. But I would like to get as much of the front end. Once I have that, I can start working on loading the characters into Roll20 and into the other versions. Now back to Jeff. Sorry, we haven't forgotten about you. How is your character coming along?
Now I'm just picking a background.
Okay. I should say too, you don't need to calculate bonuses for your characters. When you've bought your stats, when you picked your feats, when you picked your powers, that's it. I can calculate everything else. Anything that is automatically calculated, I will take care of.
Okay, then I have another thing we can talk about. I have 2 different stat builds.
Okay.
They are both Strength 13, Dex 10, Intellect 8, and Charisma 18. The difference is one would be Constitution 17 and Wisdom of 13, and the other one would be Constitution and Wisdom both of 15.
I think Wisdom is your primary stat, isn't it?
No, it's Charisma.
It's Charisma. Okay. Okay. So
I'm not sure what Wisdom does. I know it does a lot for a lot of psionics, but I'm not sure what it does for the Ardent.
for the party, it would give you your insight, your passive insight, passive perception would be based on that. And if you're trained in either of those skills, that would also, it would depend on that, or it would benefit that. Your wisdom also affects your will save. Your will save is the higher of your wisdom or your charisma. So if you've already got a pretty decent charisma, your will defense won't really suffer if you've got a lower wisdom. The other one was Constitution.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Constitution gives you your hit points. It gives you your number of healing surges. It gives you your fortitude save, which is based on either your fortitude or your strength. And it goes towards endurance.
+1 bonus to your attack rolls.
Yeah, then don't go with them.
A lot of them, just looking through,
That's exactly
it doesn't feel like I have to have wisdom.
So,
like, just for the powers. Like, it seems like the main thing that the wisdom does to your powers is when other people are trying to save against your stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? It doesn't really. One nice little benefit you've got is, I think, if you're going with the mantle that we were talking about on Wednesday, that's the one that gives you the +2 to insight, or +2 to insight and +2 to perception, maybe. Oh no, that was mantle of clarity, which you didn't want to take. Yeah, I don't know. Ignore me. I'm just rambling.
this one.
Oh, yeah. It was either Mantle of Elation or I don't have the third one in the one.
The third one's in Psionic Power.
But that one where if they
Okay, which I
That was in Psionic Power. So you open up that, you can find it there.
So one background, Kev,
There you go.
in the Psionic books is Awakened.
Okay.
I'm scared.
It says you basically you have an early awareness, like, so your intellect
That would just make you.
is sparks early, like you learn to speak quickly, you started walking soon, etc.
That's cool. Because maybe like you were the one who was the quick one, and Rakus was, bestial and snarling and grunting and stuff like that, where you were the more articulate child.
Yeah, and I was thinking it's kind of interesting because if I have an intellect of only 8, like 10 is usually like average adult intellect.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was thinking if I went with the background of Awakened, I think it's kind of maybe interesting if like he was, as soon as he could sort of start talking and whatever, like from a very young age, he displayed this intellect of sort of like 8, but he never grew up. Like he never became like, he was like a prodigy when he was 2.
Yeah.
Like speaking to his parents and whatever, but he never became a genius, how you like.
I guess, but do you want to, the thing with the low intellect is, do you want to be role-playing a character who's got a subpar intellect?
Well, or I spend more points on it. I mean, the way the build we're doing, I have to put an 8 somewhere. I mean, I guess I could make that dexterity instead.
Yeah, because I don't think Dex really does squat for you. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, like, is that the character that you've described? I mean, the way that you've described the character, if he's, going with his brother and whatnot, that seems to me to be a little thoughtful. And it's not to say that someone who has a lesser intellect can't do that, but, just taking an 8 in intellect is playing a character who is a little slow and maybe easily bamboozled.
Isn't he a Minotaur, though?
He is, yeah. They're not necessarily stupid. They're actually they're quite intelligent. They're accomplished spellcasters. They're accomplished runesmiths.
Is his character a spellcaster?
Not quite. He uses psychic power.
that Will would provided him with combat.
But based on his emotion, not as intellect.
Yeah. Well, I guess let me think this. So if your intellect isn't going to be 8, what is your dexterity going to be?
10.
10. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, whichever. I don't think it's a huge difference one way or the other. Just like your low stat is the thing that you're going to be role playing, right?
Right. Well, I don't usually think of intellect 8 being like a moron. I think of more like, you're just slightly below average intelligence. You're not.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I think I wouldn't think an 8 would be like full on retard.
You never go full retard.
Like it's not 4.
No, you're not like
right.
Confused by doors. You're just a little thick.
Right.
I've known people.
I think it's kind of interesting if you take this background where it's like, he was as smart as a 10th grader or whatever by like 4th grade, but he never it's just an interesting stunt of his character. Like he didn't keep developing. He didn't get smarter and smarter. He just that's how smart he's always been.
Well, and the thing I think I like about that too, and Dave, you can feel free to chime in with this, is that it doesn't necessarily make one of the characters, one of the Minotaurs, really brilliant and whatever else, and the other one a lunk. Like it mixes some of the positive qualities amongst both of them.
Right. Like, Dave, what's your intelligence?
I was getting tired of doing the. Sorry, say that again, Dave.
Probably fairly low because I'm gonna have to go with a high strength, dex, and constitution.
Right. So like 10 or 8 or 10.
Yeah, if that.
Okay. Well, you can't lower it below 8 or 10.
Yeah, you can't lower below 8 or so. You 8 is the lowest you can go with it, but.
Okay.
Could also explain why. I mean, if both of your characters have 8 intelligence, it could explain why you were so easily, kind of co-opted into this mercenary group with whatchamacallit, with Ember.
Right. Like we're not like handicapped.
Yeah.
We're just not the brightest.
You're just not writing any essays.
Right. We don't write essays. Okay, cool. Yeah. Then I'm gonna go with Awakened.
Okay, I'll be right back. I'm just checking the dog.
I'm sparked with average intelligence at a very young age.
Yeah, exactly. He was blessed with his average intelligence starting at 2 years old.
Yeah.
He was reading young adult novels when he was 2, but he never started reading textbooks ever.
Yeah. He just kind of plateaued.
Yeah, he just plateaued. I love it. I think it's hilarious. The parents are like, "Oh, he's the smartest Minotaur ever," but he just never got any smarter than that.
Yeah, I think I plateaued.
Okay.
I realized that I plateaued about 2 years ago.
So, let's see here. So I think so that's your character is coming together. You will have 1 feat that you get to pick, Jeff, and then 1 free expertise feat. And that will be coming from one of the Essentials books.
Okay, so do you want his stats, Kev?
Sure.
Or did you write them down?
Is this after the 2 plus 2s?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's strength 13, con 17, dex 10, wisdom 13, intellect 8, charisma 18.
Wow, nice.
Sorry, Kevin.
Yep.
Did you say we get a free expertise feat and another free feat?
No. He gets 1 feat as a first level character, and then he gets his free expertise feat.
Okay.
So that's the next thing to pick now?
The next thing to pick is your. Well, you need to pick your feats, and you need to pick your skills and your powers. And I know what your class, I know your race is. Oh, and your theme as well, and background.
What? Well, my theme is the Fey animal dude, and my background is awakened.
Yep. Okay. And class.
So I need to pick feats.
Ardent. Okay, so one of the feats. What kind of weapon do you see yourself using? Let's see what the Ardent.
That's why I was asking Dave what he's gonna fight with. So he's thinking like something Tetsubo like.
Yeah, Dave. Where are we in terms of what weapon are you using?
We're talking Craghammer?
Yeah, we're talking Craghammer if he goes for the feet, if he uses his feet.
Okay, so it'd be so it's like
I'm not quite sure what other feats would fit for a Defender Barbarian. As like to contrast that one with. If he's getting a free like weapon expertise.
Well, he's getting a free expertise, which is his bludgeoning expertise.
Right.
He would need to spend.
So that's like an offensive feat.
Right. No, but Brent, he would need, if he's going to use a Craghammer, that's an exotic weapon. He needs to take a weapon. His
right,
other.
I know. So I haven't given him options of what he can do in place of that.
Okay. Here's the thing. You don't need to theory craft it to the nth degree. You guys can completely respend shit afterwards. So if you decide, oh, I don't like this. This isn't the thing I want to use. We can change that between sessions. My reason for doing
something now.
Yeah, like my reason for setting it up that way, guys, is so that we don't spend. Gives you the option of trying stuff, and it doesn't work. Do something different next session.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Kev, I want to use an intimidating weapon.
Okay. So, like, what are you thinking? Let's see what you're actually trained in.
Yeah, I can use martial. Let's see. Simple. What are they called? Simple melee, military melee, or simple ranged.
Okay. So that means that it's basically. I mean, yeah, any typical D&D weapon. Like, do you see him using an axe or a hammer or a? Well, actually, you know what? Like your abilities. Are you planning on getting abilities that slide people around or push them around?
I don't think I really have a lot of pushing abilities.
Okay. So that because that'll dictate whether a bludgeoning weapon would be useful or not.
My weapons are like demoralizing strike, energizing. So that
you don't have the stats for that.
The fury of my assault causes a surge of fear in your foe's heart.
You can respect yours as a one.
Energizing strike, which my attack flows into my allies' attacks. Focusing strike causes calm and clarity of mind.
Are you planning on moving around a lot?
Potentially.
Because the heavy blade expertise, which would be like long swords and things like that, in addition to giving you +1 to hit, it also gives you +2 bonus to defenses against all opportunity attacks.
That's not bad, and combined with my cat, that would give me some good defensive abilities.
If you're planning on charging a spear, you get the spear expertise gives you +1 bonus to damage rolls of weapon attacks that make with a spear when you charge.
That's pretty cool. I can only charge once per combat, though, right?
No, you can charge as many times as you want. It's just that the Minotaur ability only triggers once per encounter.
Okay.
What else?
I don't know. A spear's not very intimidating.
Where is my copy of?
You're standing on the wrong side of a spear.
Let's see what
they're pretty intimidating. I've never had a character
that used a spear.
Yeah, never.
Well, doesn't Brent's character fight with a spear?
Yep.
I'm gonna have to borrow his spear.
You said you have no abilities that slide targets, right?
Not that I see.
Okay.
I mean, I could. It's not quite as useful as it was with my other psionic character, but I could look at using some kind of a chain or a whip or some kind of weapon like that.
Yeah. Yeah, which is the flail, but the downside there, if you're not sliding anyone, the flail expertise isn't going to synergize with that.
Right, it doesn't help you very much.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to either. Okay, an axe expertise lets you reroll a 1.
Well, that's pretty good. I could see my character just using a really large axe.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm cool with that. So then axe would be my expertise?
Yeah, and then you should get 1 other feat.
Okay, so are there like psionic feats?
There are, yeah, in Player's Handbook 3 and in Psionic Power. Let's see what... there are feats that are specific to the Ardent. Actually, there are Minotaur specific feats as well. Like Bloodied Ferocity. Make a free melee basic attack when you're first bloodied. In your case, that's not going to be super helpful because you are... what do you call it? Your basic melee attack is not going to be great with a low strength. But actually, Dave, that would be a pretty badass spell for you. Or a badass feat for you.
What's that?
A feat for Dave, if he doesn't go with a exotic weapon, it's a Minotaur feat, Bloodied Ferocity. You make a free melee basic attack when you're first bloodied. You're the defender. There's a good chance of you getting bloodied in most encounters, which means you basically would be spawning 1 free attack every time, like once per encounter, every time you get bloodied. So as soon as you hit half hit points, you would be able to make a basic attack, and the way your character is built, you're going to have a really high strength, which means your basic attack's going to be pretty good. So it's sort of a way of baking in an extra free triggered attack.
Okay.
You wouldn't be able to take the exotic weapon at first level then, but you know, it's yeah, it's pretty badass. Let's see.
Are there any others, Kev?
Any other Minotaur ones?
Yeah.
Yep. There's Brutal Ferocity. Gives you +2 to attack and damage with the attack granted by ferocity, which is, I think that's your charge thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but that already gives him a +4 to hit. So that would, I guess, up it to +6 to hit.
+6 to hit, +2 to damage.
That is racial ability?
Yeah.
That's also then once per encounter.
Yeah.
Goring Charge. You push a target 1 square after your Goring Charge. This is interesting. Half to defense, +1 to your AC and your reflexes when wielding a pole arm or a staff in 2 arms or 2 hands. It's not quite as good as a shield, but it's halfway there. Springing Charge. If this is a Minotaur thing, make a second charge attack after critical on your first charge attack. It's pretty situational, but oof. Dave, are you taking abilities that knock people prone?
He's a Minotaur at counter and knocks people prone.
Okay, because here's a good one that might synergize with Jeff's character nicely. Headsman's Chop.
Oh, I love that
5
one.
extra damage to prone target when using an axe or a heavy blade. And he's using it. If he uses an axe as a weapon, someone needs to knock him down. Brent, do you have abilities that knock people prone?
I could, if that works for people in the group. Otherwise, I was going to go with, it's either an at-will that knocks people prone or an at-will that attacks each enemy in a burst of 1. So depending on whether we benefit from me on crowd control or me benefit with me knocking people prone.
You don't need crowd control because you've got effectively 2 controllers, 1 full-on controller, 1 kind of partway controller. But the prone thing... Jesus, that's there's no restriction on how many times that's used. So basically, if you could knock things prone and let Jeff's character follow up on that attack, Jeff's character will be doing 5 extra damage with every one of those attacks. And they're prone, which means +2 to hit.
And what kind of weapon procs that, or what kind of feat procs that?
Jeff needs to be wielding an axe, which is what he's going to use anyway.
So if both Dave and Jeff decided to use axes and they could both have that feat and do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be a strong reason for my monk to knock people prone then.
And actually, the axe expertise feat lets you re-roll ones, so you wouldn't need to worry about the brutal ability.
Dave would fight with an axe.
And actually, because you got 2 minotaurs and you each knock each other prone, so like in theory, like, you know, Dave could charge in, knock someone prone, and spend an action surge and whack the thing. Then when it gets up, Jeff could use his ability to charge in, knock it prone, and then you could whack it, and then Dave could whack it again.
Perfect, Barbarian level 1 daily. That's a burst 1, and it knocks each enemy that's damaged prone.
So if the 2 Minotaur brothers each had that feat, you guys would be doing a shit ton of extra damage against prone targets.
If he has to use one-handed, he could be using Battle Axe, 2 proficiency, 1d10, and Jeff's character could always use the Great Axe, which is +2 proficiency, but it's d12 instead.
Okay. And what's the name of that feat, Kev?
The feat is called Headsman's Chop. Jeff, how does this sound to you?
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will take that the monk ability that knocks people prone then, as opposed to the first one.
See, this is the nice advantage of building our characters together, is we can work a few nice synergies into the party.
Yeah, and this is great too, because this is the way I sort of foresaw it going, is starting with the roll, so we've got our bases covered there, doing all the story stuff, so we've got these great connections with all the characters, and then finishing up with this cool, you know, synergy of your tactical abilities.
I'm just hanging out and having a good time.
Well, Cork, I think
so that's my feats. So all that's left is my powers?
so. All you got is your powers, your background, and your skills.
No, my background is awakened.
Awakened?
Yeah. It gives me a bonus to bluff and intimidate.
+1 or plus?
Here, let me pull it up again.
Sure.
It's in the psionic book.
I think that then you pick one of those and you get +2 to whatever one that is. I'm just looking at what your powers are, Cork. The ones you pick, see if they do neat shit too. So you picked. So this is a non-sequitur, but there's I can't remember. I think it's the Avenger has an ability called Astral Thunder, which immediately started being called Asshole Thunder at our table, and we played that campaign for 2 years. So we kept having people unleashing Asshole Thunder in combat.
You have to like bend over and turn around in order to evoke the power.
Yeah, it's a move action to squat.
Well, all it says, Kev, is associated skills, bluff, and intimidate.
Oh, so then what you do is you pick one of those to either become a class skill that you can pick or to get a +2 to it.
Okay, so intimidate is a class skill.
So you just take +2 to it if you like.
Yeah, so I'd like to make my intimidate stronger.
Excellent.
Climbing.
Okay.
And you'd be good at it. This is +5.
Okay. So, I have to pick my skills.
Yeah. Holy shit. Cork, Purging Flame is fucking sinister.
Purging Flame?
Yeah. Because the ongoing fire damage, that means like you hit it and it takes damage, and then it takes 10 damage at the start of its turn, and then at the end of the turn it has to try and save to make it end. So that's a wow.
Yeah, I can't wait to play my character.
Even if you miss, it takes fire damage. That's fucking crazy.
Did Corey get a theme yet?
Get a theme? Yes,
Yeah.
he took Seer.
Oh, he did take Seer. Okay.
Yeah.
Why, did you have a good suggestion?
No, that was it.
I don't know if that's really how you see this.
Oh, okay.
Although I did like the Ghost of the Past one too.
Not really. It's more like a.
Ooh, Sunstrike. Yeah, Ghost of the Past is a really good one. We use it for, or I use it for his mage character in the last session in the one shot.
Yeah, one of my iterations of Ember actually had her as a Seer, but
Yeah.
didn't make sense story-wise. I just liked the mechanics.
Yeah. Well, I also added in that I can't remember it wasn't Hand of Fate, but it may have been Hand of Fate. It was there was a thing where you could ask a question,
Yep.
And it would tell you wheel woe or whatever else. I gave him that as well too, as a free ritual.
Invokers get that anyways.
No. I mean, for when we made the character, because I made Brent's character that he played in the last session was a fighter knight with the seer theme, and he was a mule. I wanted to try and show like you can play themes that support your core class, or ones that are counter to it that just give an interesting story element.
Right.
Because I love the idea of a cursed half dwarf who could tell fortunes. That's actually the character I played basically in Chad's campaign, 15 years ago.
So I'll use whatever decently strong armor.
Okay. I think skill is what you can use.
Yeah, I can use cloth, leather, hide, or chainmail.
Okay, so you chainmail. Okay. What are your trained skills?
Okay, so heal and intimidate for sure.
Okay.
And then my options are Arcana, Athletics, Bluff, Diplomacy, Endurance, Insight, or Streetwise.
What do you think?
Well, I don't think I would have much Streetwise.
Are you able to sense magical energies and stuff like that?
No, I think not magical, no.
Okay. So Arcana's out then. Athletics is climbing and jumping and shit.
Yeah, he's probably not big into that. So it's going to be either Diplomacy.
His charisma's really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't see him bluffing. I don't see him lying a lot.
Guys, is there anyone else in the party who's a really good chatty type?
No.
Me.
You're decent? Okay.
Hey, Kev, or this is a general question. Dave's got a cool at willpower that grants combat advantage. Is there any themes that would make that grant abilities that make use of combat advantage?
Not that I'm aware of, but I to be honest, I don't know them terribly well.
Okay.
The way that I approach the themes instead is I approach them more from the story side.
Okay.
Because Dave's thought was the steppe nomad, I think. But again, just as a caution, I'm fine with you guys both being from that kind of culture, but the opportunities to have a mounted character shine are usually few and far between in D&D. The times they do, they're amazing, but just as a forewarning, think back to how many sessions of D&D we've played in the past, and you played in the past with the other, our other friends. How many times of those take place, on a road while everyone's riding along, or in an open field, or something like that?
Okay, Kev, what does Endurance do?
Endurance is for resisting exhaustion, for exposure to the elements.
Okay, I'll take your breath.
Yeah, you're just tough as a nickel steak, I think is the way Steve would put it.
Yeah, and what about an Insight?
You drop anything you're holding.
Insight is judging how other people are reacting. If someone's trying to lie to you or trying to sense motive or something like that, that's all under Insight.
Yeah, Insight, for sure. He gets a good feel for what other people are.
Okay. Okay, so is it only 3 skills he gets?
No, 4. Heal, Endurance, Insight, and Intimidate.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch it. I picked Endurance. Okay, great. So then the only thing you need is your powers. You'll pick 2 at-wills and 1 daily because you're an Ardent.
Okay, so 2. So I get the Minotaur one.
Yep.
And then I get 1 Ardent feature.
Oh yeah, you got to pick your mantle.
Which is either
one of 3. So your mantle of clarity, mantle of wrath, I think is the other one.
Outrage or surge.
And then what is the other one here? Or mantle of impulsiveness. Mantle of impulsiveness is when an ally within 5 squares of you is targeted by an opportunity attack. That ally gains a power bonus to all damage rolls equal to your Constitution modifier until the end of their next turn.
That one's from the Psionics book?
Yeah, from Sound Power.
Go there. So many things.
And then your Ardent Surge is that when you use your healing power, that target gains +2 bonus to speed until the end of your next turn. Yeah, the Ardent is really interesting. It's going to be neat to see him in play.
Okay.
To be honest, a lot of these classes are ones I've had an Invoker before. I've had a Mage before, obviously. I've had a Monk in a one-shot. But I haven't had an Ardent. I haven't had a Berserker. Yeah. What's the other class we got? And I haven't really seen a Monk over long term, I suppose. So that'll be interesting to see.
So the ones I see in the base book are Ardent Alacrity. As you take a hit, your emotional energy inspires your allies. Each target can use a free action either to shift 1 square or move half his or her speed.
Yeah.
It triggers when I'm bloody. Ardent Outrage is if I'm bloody, each target grants combat advantage until the start of your next turn. That's enemies in a burst. And Ardent Surge.
Ardent Surge is your healing thing. That's what
so I get that one.
Yeah, and then the Ardent Surge is modified by which mantle you pick.
Oh.
Like your mantle.
The one mantle is not in the... Wait, the one mantle's in the Psionic book?
One of the mantles is in the Psionics book. The other 2 are in the base book. Go 2 pages back in... Oh, not the base book, but the Player's Handbook 3. On page 23, it tells you what it does. Where is it here?
Oh, so I'm either a Mantle of Elation or Mantle of Clarity.
Yeah.
And then...
Mantle of Impulsiveness is the one out of Psionic Power.
Oh, there it is.
How are things going with your character, Dave?
Actually,
we're just doing attributes. Otherwise, he's done.
Oh, awesome!
Okay, let's go with Mantle of Impulsiveness.
Yeah. You want Mantle of Impulsiveness? Okay. That actually would be pretty cool because whoever you're using your heals on, which are likely going to be either yourself, Brent's character, or Dave's character, they're all melee characters, and giving them a boost to their speed when they're hurt is probably going to be helpful. Particularly with Brent's. Brent's character will go from like being super fast to like blindingly fast.
Right.
Brent, do you think your character would appreciate a +2 speed bonus?
Say that again.
Oh, okay. Apparently I was muted. But you said, how many? What did you say, Kev? How much speed bonus?
+2. Yeah, Jeff
so that would give me a speed, depending on the power I'm using, of between 9 to 12.
That's awesome.
I would be running the fuck all over the place.
So because the mantle that he's picked, when he hits you with his heal, you, in addition to the healing stuff, you also get +2 speed.
But then basically what I would make me do is, while the monk does melee attacks, he'd have like the range of a ranged attack, because he would run just as fast as, or move just as far as most ranged attacks do.
That's pretty badass.
Jeff?
Yeah?
What's your theme?
The Fey animal trainer or whatever, but we're racing it as empathic animal trainer.
Why, if you have a suggestion?
No, I'm trying to jot this stuff down.
Oh, okay, yeah. It was the animal companion one.
And Dave, did we get one for you?
Okay, so wait, it also says here, Kev,
I don't know.
Mantle of Impulsiveness. When an ally within 5 squares of you is targeted by an opportunity attack, that ally gains a power bonus to damage rolls equal to your Constitution modifier until the end of their turn.
Yep.
So that's also pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty. Because your Constitution is what? You went with.
I went with 17.
Oh, I got it in front of me. What am I talking about?
Ability.
Oh yeah, fuck. Your Constitution is 17, which means it's a +3.
You that can
So
see
when you trigger that ability, they gain a +3. Wait, is it an ability or is it just default?
It just says under new class feature.
Oh, that's awesome. So
mental impulsiveness.
Yeah,
so
Brent
this,
and
the
Dave.
things it says under that, it says, it says when an ally within 5 squares of you is targeted by an opportunity attack, that ally gains a power bonus to damage equal to your Constitution modifier until the end of their turn.
That's crazy. So either Dave or Brent, if you get tagged, if you're within 5 squares of Jeff's character and you get tagged by an opportunity attack, you'll gain +3 to damage till the end of your next turn.
Nice.
And in addition, each ally within 5 squares of you gains a +2 bonus to endurance checks and intimidate checks.
Nice. So you guys are particularly scary.
Right. Well, that was my goal. Is I'm trying to make me and Dave very intimidating.
Yeah.
So, Dave, if you take powers that let you do intimidation maneuvers, that could be valuable.
He says, okay.
Okay. So now I just need to pick my powers. So wait. Yeah. So that's
2 at-wills and 1 daily. Because some of the psychic classes don't have encounters.
okay. So the at-wills are the first 4 here, and whatever's in the psionic book.
They're all. You can also pick the ones out of psionic power if you want.
Right.
Are you telling me the everything?
Yeah. I only
Did you copy everything or just
the one book.
You should copy it all. It's a good resource to have.
So how badass are our characters looking, guys?
Cool.
I can't wait to make things go boom.
I should tell you guys, I'm also adapting. There are some really great travel rules out of this. It's the Lord of the Rings game, basically for 5th edition D&D. But there are some really fucking fun travel rules here. The best, arguably, I think the best travel rules in any game.
Travel rules are great. In what way?
Like it makes travel an actual story. It makes interesting things and exciting. It makes it like the game is designed to emulate Tolkien's works, which make a big fucking deal out of getting from one place to another. So it makes like characters pick sort of roles to occupy, be it like the lookout or the person who's foraging while you're going or whatever, and then you make rolls, and there are depending on what you encounter, it'll trigger someone like one of the members of the party's role. So like maybe you came across a group, and depending on how you roll, it might be a hostile group that doesn't notice you, or it might be a friendly group that doesn't notice you, or whatever.
That's cool.
So it makes it, it adds actually a little bit of improv element to the game as well. Too. Jeff and I have used these in 5th edition D&D for a very little bit, but they made us travel in the game as interesting a component as what the other parts are.
Who publishes that?
Other option.
It is Cubicle 7. It's they're a French publisher, and they actually originally published this here, the One Ring role-playing game, and this does not use the D20 or like the D20 type mechanic, but to cash in on 5th edition success, they published basically this is a D&D version of this game.
What? How can they do that legally?
Prisma would start off.
They had a license. I mean, they had a license for the Tolkien stuff for this game, and the license, I guess, covered making this as well. And as soon as D&D released their own, like it's an open game license similar to what was out for 3rd edition, that's what they published this sucker under.
Yeah, that really any.
Okay, my first one that I'm taking for sure is Fire Strike.
Is which one, Jeff?
Fire Strike?
Fire which?
IRE Strike.
Ire Strike. Okay, sorry.
And your
You feel anger rising within you and empower a nearby ally to strike.
endurance.
At will, augmentable, psionic, it's a melee attack. So
X.
effect is one ally adjacent to you can make a melee basic attack against the target as a free action.
Awesome. Oh my god, that's
Target
amazing.
has bonus 2 to all damage until the end of your next turn.
That is super cool.
And if I augment it, the ally can step 5 squares, or the ally within 5 squares of you gets a free action to shift to a square adjacent to the target and then make an attack against them. And if they hit, it deals 1d8 extra damage.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, and what's the second one?
So I can increase defenses. I can give people saving throws. Or I can give them temporary hit points.
You can also remember because you can swap them out too. Like if there's one that you sort of want to try, and then you want to try another one, you know, between sessions, we can do that.
Well, I don't know. Hey, you guys, what do you think is better, temporary hit points or an extra saving throw?
Is it a one-time thing for extra temporary hit points?
Can I put something out there, Jeff?
Yeah.
Remember how much fun it was to be stunned until save?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, extra saving throw is always nice to have.
So, I mean, that's focusing strike. So what that does is I make an attack. I do 1 weapon damage plus charisma modifier, and me or one of my allies within 5 squares gets to make a saving throw.
That's good.
Plus 2 hit points and plus 1.
And if I augment it twice, I do 2 weapon plus charisma, and me and each ally within 5 squares all make a saving throw.
That's better.
That's amazing.
Okay, let's go with focusing strike then.
Okay, and then just pick a daily, and I put the characters together.
Nice. So daily options.
Okay, and then Dave, did you spend your points to get your attributes?
We're working on between 2 different arrays,
Okay.
but we're close.
That is awesome. Oop. Okay, so that means, yeah, so we will absolutely be starting this campaign off. We'll be rolling dice. We'll be playing characters next session. This is, I know we chewed up an entire session creating these characters here, but I think this was time well spent because these are the connections we've got with the characters, the ideas that you like. Having you guys hear what each other can do, I think has been quite helpful to strategize what you're going to be doing the first time the initiative gets rolled.
Kevin?
Yeah.
I'm in Toronto next Friday. The next 2 Fridays from now, I'm in Toronto.
Guess who's getting faded out the first time then?
Seeing as how I've got this to work on my laptop, I'm going to try gaming from our house.
Okay. Yeah, and then I will send you the link to the Roll20 campaign, James.
Yeah.
Because I think what I might do is just, I have a couple 4th edition campaigns set up right now, but what I'll do is just create a fresh one so I can load everything in there. Because we're not going to use the old characters or maps again. So I will create a new campaign, and I will send you guys all links to that beforehand, so I can upload your characters and whatever else, and have everything on there. And then between now and the next session, I will also send you out copies of your characters as well.
Dave's
What's that,
character needs a theme and a background.
Who needs a theme in the background? Dave's character?
Yes.
Okay. Dave, what are you thinking for? Again, you can take that that step warrior one if you want, but the only caution I have, I'm not intentionally trying to stay away from mounted combat. It's just that in my time playing D&D and running D&D, it just doesn't seem like that comes up an awful lot.
Okay.
So what it means is that if you choose that, that means that when it does come up, it's gonna be fucking amazing, because that'll be like your total thing. But what it also means is that there's gonna be a lot of time where probably you're not gonna be on a horse, or you're doing weird things like trying to force, and it wouldn't be a horse either, it would be something much bigger, into a dungeon or a castle or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, tell me a little more about Rackus.
Well, I mean, originally I was kind of figuring that he was, he was part of like that nomadic steep tribe.
Totally is. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, he lost his shit, got ostracized from the community, and ended up basically wandering from that point. Living off the land, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, let's think of it this way. Do you want something that will complement your current role, which is a defender and striker, or do you want to find something that's going to contrast against it? Something that'll add a little more story element to you.
Let's go with complement it.
Complement, okay.
Did someone already take the gladiator?
No, no one did.
Because that's a defender, right?
Yeah. Hold on here.
So it's like it gives you an extra attack. You could just attack twice.
Yeah, Hordeland's Nomad is not super
what about
exciting.
if we reskin Sohei, because I could see him getting mad and he gets gets that extra attack in.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, no. So we just
sort of like when werewolves in the werewolf game would rage, they get faster.
Yeah. No, we just call your ability and instead of calling it Sohei Flare, we call it Flurry of Blows or something like that, or Feral Flurry or something.
What about if we reskinned the Purple Dragon theme?
What does that do? I don't remember.
It's Dragon 407. Actually, he gets a at-will ability. It's a stance, and when it's either on offense or defense or tactics. Offense, you gain you gain a +1 power bonus to melee basic attack rolls, or whenever you hit an enemy with a melee basic attack, one ally adjacent to you gains a +1 bonus to all defenses till the start of your next turn. After you hit an enemy, or the tactics, after you hit an enemy with a melee basic attack, you can shift 1 square as a free action.
That would add more flexibility to an already pretty flexible character too, Dave. It's a stance, which means I don't know if you can use that. Hold on, let me take a look at your flurry. Hold on here. So I wonder if you can use that as when you frenzy. There it is, Berserker. So because I think your aura is a stance.
Oh.
No, it's not. Yeah, so you could do both of those. You don't use melee basic attacks as part of your attacks. You use actual powers. So the basic attack, the offensive bonus isn't super helpful, but
but an attack of opportunity is a basic attack, and his defender ability is if someone moves out of his aura or shifts out of his aura, he gets or attacks someone else. That
means you're picking a theme that gives you a +1 on a very situational bonus. You know, like that's a theme that gives you +1 with only that one kind of attack, because it's only basic attacks. That's where I think it's like what this is designed to synergize with is with the Knight or with the Slayer
or Fighter.
But Kev, wouldn't his like the Berserker's defender sort of defender aura? He gets an attack of opportunity against things that move away or don't attack him. That's a basic attack, right?
Brent, I heard you say that. You're not listening to what I'm saying, which is that means it's a very situational bonus. That's the only melee basic attack he's making. So he would be taking a stance that would give him a +1 bonus to only that one opportunity.
Right.
Right?
I'd say that's so blurring my.
We're talking about you like you're not here.
That's okay. Actually, I'm enjoying.
We're parents fighting over your. He doesn't need to do that.
He's gonna go to this school, not your school.
Exactly.
Well, no. If I used my Iron Strike on him, he would be making a basic melee attack.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Okay, so maybe So you're right. Then it could synergize with Jeff's character.
That's the Sohei theme.
No, that's the Purple Dragon theme.
Do you guys have the Sohei ability up? Either one of you guys to read it to Dave?
Yeah,
I do. Yeah. So hey, it's a minor action to basically make another attack.
So yeah, once per round you get 2 attacks, or once
doing one weapon. You have to have hit someone. You get to do it again. I love that one because I have that on my rune priest that I play in James's campaign, which I usually open a battle with. Sorry?
That campaign is still going on.
Yeah. So I what do you call it? Because my strategy, Dave, is because it's an encounter ability, I can do it every round. I open up, I charge in, I use one of my encounter abilities, and then I follow it up with that Sohei thing. So I'm hitting someone twice with my weapon in the opening round.
Okay. And in terms of the Purple Dragon, what are the benefits of that again? Are
that would give you some flexibility. So you do need to spend a minor action to activate it, but basically what you do is you pick one of 3 things: offense, defense, tactics. Offense gives you +1 power bonus, +1 bonus to your basic attack rolls. Defense, when you hit someone with a basic attack, one ally gains +1 bonus to its defenses until the start of your next turn. And tactics, after you hit an enemy with a basic attack, you can shift 1 square as a free action.
And the nice thing too is once the stance is on, at the beginning of each turn, you can always change your selection.
Yep. For free or as a minor?
It says that you choose at the beginning of your turn.
Yep. So that's great. So then, Dave, what you could do is, like, let's say you're, I don't know, like you need to position yourself away from a new target. One thing, listen, I said, now that just because this brings up something that I saw come up last session, and I should have mentioned, you can drop down in the initiative order. Yep. So, like in the last session, I don't remember the specifics, but one of you was acting after someone else, and was basically like that person's actions kept fucking up your actions. And what if you had done is drop the initiative so that one player was acting after the other one? That would have fixed that problem completely. So in this thing, let's say you want to use your basic attack. You just want to make sure you hit a hard-to-hit target. You make sure that your aura that's active is your focus discipline. And then when Jeff's character goes and grants you the basic attack, you get a better bonus to attack. Or if you needed to reposition yourself, you would have put yourself into tactics so you can do the one shift. Or if this thing's hitting your allies for a lot of damage and you need to help stop that, you just use your other one to give +1 to defenses to your allies. So it doesn't seem on its face to be a huge benefit, but in this edition, a +1 or a +2 is a pretty significant difference. Okay. What it does also do, though, it does add an extra level of complexity to your character that you'll have to sort of make work in coordination with Jeff. The Sohei is a pretty straightforward thing. There's that once you hit someone, you get to use a minor action to try and hit them again. So it depends how much how much planning you want to, I guess, put in to get the benefit from it.
How simple do you want your character?
Pretty simple. Let's go with Sohei.
Okay, you want simple. Sohei it is.
There's there's a little bit of moving parts with the barbarian as it is, like trying to pick when to go into that rage, or trying to time that. So Sohei allows you to do what your your secondary role is, which is do a shit ton of damage.
Kev?
Yes, sir.
If a power says sustain minor, does that mean I use a minor action to continue using it?
That's right. Yep.
And minor is?
Minor is, remember, move minor standard. The name of the band is Move Minor Standard.
Right, so I can always still move and take a standard action.
You can sub in a move to do a minor. You can sub in a standard to do a minor. You could do minor, minor, minor if you want. But yeah.
Well, then I think I'm going to take Battleborn Acuity for my daily.
Battleborn Acuity, cool.
You shine like a beacon, lighting the way to victory. You make an attack, 2 weapon damage plus charisma modifier. Miss does half damage. The effect is, until the end of your next turn, your allies gain both a +1 power bonus to attack rolls and a power bonus to damage equal to your Constitution modifier while they are adjacent to you.
Good job.
Sustain with a minor action.
That's badass.
So as long as I sustain that, if you guys stand beside me, you'll get +1 to hit and +3 to damage.
Pretty badass.
So again, if I'm continuing to stand beside Dave, adjacent to Dave, and use my Iron Strike on him, then he'll get 3 extra damage, +1 to attack and +3 to damage on those bonus melee attacks I give him.
That's awesome. Cool. Okay. So
that's all of Oberon.
Oberon is together, I think. Then.
Dave needs a background.
Oh yeah, what is your background? Oh no, you already picked the background for Oberon. So for Rakkus, what is Rakkus's background going to be? Actually, Dave, if you just want Hordelands, to play up that element, just call your background Hordelands, or not Hordelands, Steppe Nomad, and take either +2 to athletics or +2 to endurance. That's an easy fix. And then again, I'll let you use that if if you need to, say, judge the quality of a mount or something like that, or you need to, I don't know, do some survival shit on the steps. I'll let you use that in place of a skill.
Okay.
All right, so I think our mechanics are done here. So to close out the session, then, what I'd like you guys to do is to give me, give all of us a description of what your character looks like, and we can go in. Why don't we go in order? I've got you on the screen here. So we'll start off with Cork. Cork, what does your guy look like? What does people see when they look at him?
Well, he's got white hair. He's probably between 10 and 12 years old. And he's got short white hair, green eyes, and he's just like a little kid.
Okay. What does he wear?
He wears probably at this point just very basic low budget clothing. Very unassuming, if you're watching Game of Thrones and that girl runs around all the time and hiding or whatever, she's not wearing royal clothes or anything like that.
Yep.
So I'm wearing dressed in leather clothes, pretty not ragged clothes, but pretty just normal.
Okay. We'll go next in order here is who wants to go first?
A full-grown size staff.
Yeah. Okay. Who would like to go? Let's go with Dave. Dave, what does Rackus look like?
He's extremely physically imposing. He's about 7'5", about 450, 500 pounds. Just a mean bull.
Yeah. Okay. What does he wear?
Hide armor, but kind of a minimal amount. He's fairly proud of his tattoos, and so he tries to showcase them as much as possible. It's more of a hide vest.
Okay.
And hide breeches. He also carries a simple hide shield. He fights with a battle axe. He's got a javelin just from being out in the wild and having to hunt. He found that has helped him.
Does he have any mannerisms?
How do you mean? Like in terms of
like, is there something he says all the time, or is there something he routinely carries with him, or is there some kind of tick he has, like he always stomps his hoofs when he goes into a room, or
no, not particularly. All his tattoos are basically carved out of his skin, and they're all rubbed with ochre, so they kind of contrast in red against his black fur.
Love it.
And they're a labyrinth pattern, right, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay. Brent, why don't you describe for us what your character looks like?
Or do you want me to describe Oberon in comparison to him?
Sure, if you want. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so physically, he's the match of what's his name, Rackus?
Yeah.
Like he's also 7'5". He's huge, big, intimidating minotaur. They look kind of like mirror images of each other. He's got white fur though instead of black. He wears, instead of like rough hide-looking armor, he's got this sort of shiny chainmail that he wears. And instead of an axe and a shield, he's just got a large two-handed battle axe that he uses. And you can't see his tattoos, but he actually has a matching tattoo similar to. So, like, I'm picturing that, Dave, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Rackus is covered in tattoos.
Yeah, he's. Basically, he carves himself a new one with every battle that he enters. So he's pretty replete on them.
And so, in contrast, Oberon has one sort of giant tattoo on his back that he got Rackus to carve on his back for him. And it's also a labyrinth, but the difference between, like, Rackus's labyrinths are an actual maze. Like, you could trace them for hours to try and move around on his body through his labyrinth. Whereas the labyrinth that's marks Oberon's back it's complicated on the sides, but there's like literally a straight path to the goal of the labyrinth. Like, it could be like a child's first maze. They could solve it. It's an obvious path to the goal.
That's awesome. Did you say? Is it a great axe?
What was that? I missed
Sorry,
that?
Jeff, is it a great axe he uses, not a battle axe?
Yeah, a great axe. Whatever's the two-handed one. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Sorry. And Cork, what were you saying?
I was saying, where does the path end on the tattoo?
At the set wall, like in the middle of his like back, or like the center of the labyrinth.
Not his butt, Cork.
You see this tattoo, and it's getting obviously close to the butt.
Yeah, I don't know about this tattoo man.
Okay, sorry. So, Brent, why don't you tell us what your character looks like?
He has long hair, often tied back, and he just looks like wears normal clothes, no armor. He carries a longbow and a
Sorry, I just want to interrupt for a second. This is a function, I think, just of how tired I am from this week. But for whatever fucking reason, I thought you were going to say he looks like Where's Waldo. Well, he looks really like weird, and I'm like, what?
He could hide. He could hide.
I'll tell you what, Kev. If you make those the glasses and give him a sort of +1 implement focus, I will not only play Where's Waldo, I'll attack with the glasses.
Please do not play Waldo.
Can we use the glasses as shuriken?
You cannot use the glasses as shuriken. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted you. You're describing
so sort of looks like I guess sort of normal elf wearing nice but sort of like just casual clothes. Carries a longbow and a spear. If he had wore armor and a sword, you'd probably think he's a soldier, but he maybe looks like a hunter.
Okay. Very cool. Okay. And then last but certainly not least, James, why don't you tell us what Ember looks like?
She's slim. She's in I guess her early 20s. She wears a skirt, vest, white tunic, shows lots of cleavage. She's, curvy. Her skin is a bit of a reddish hue, fairly attractive. She looks a little different than normal tieflings in the regard that her horns are actually quite big,
okay,
and curved. They are kind of intimidating looking. She's got a strange scar or birthmark around her left eye, with I guess flecks of gold in it. Oh, and she's got golden eyes.
Okay.
That is about it.
What does she dress like?
Oh, I guess you could say tavern serving girl. Those the clothes she had. So
okay,
as a skirt, vest, and shirt.
Well, I'll say, I mean, you guys could have invested in traveling clothes by this point, because you guys have been, like, the trip out to Urgoz would have been, like, even in the summertime or whatever, like the trip through up to the mountains is going to be a rough, ordeal. So I'm assuming you guys have at least invested in good traveling clothes.
Yeah, but this is the kind of the style she's comfortable with.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, it's like the I think everyone's had an ex-girlfriend who had to put mascara on when you were camping.
Sure.
Really?
Actually, when Dave and myself were in doing Kilimanjaro, one of the chicks, we'd stop for a break, and all of a sudden she'd be applying makeup.
Yeah.
Well,
actually, do you remember Chelsea?
Yeah.
Yeah, who's a very, very granola girl. She still wanted to put on. Who the fuck is going to see you? Anyway.
So I want to point out that more than half.
I've got a question for you guys. So I was indecisive between a daily, and I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on it. Daily option 1, shift your speed. So my elvish speed is 7. So shift 7 squares and make an attack against each person I shift next to. Or the other daily is do an attack against each enemy in a burst of 2. And then for the rest of the encounter, you get all my attacks would have a reach of 1.
The first one is really helpful for clearing out a clustered group of like minions, I think. The second one is helping you be better at what you do, which is move around and hit shit at reach, right?
Yeah.
So that's my thought, is just like that's what those two things effectively are doing. So which of those do you think is?
Do you guys think the reach of 1 would help out for, like, you know, in certain encounters?
Yeah. Ask Jeff how reach helped him in the one shot.
Yeah, reach is pretty good. It lets you position your party in interesting ways, like, you know, especially in tight fighting corridors where you can still get an attack in.
Or when a creature's got an aura that does damage, you can stay out of that aura and still hit it.
Absolutely. Reach is pretty valuable.
You know, I'll go with that one, because I was going to go with the at will close burst, but now that I'm going with the at will knock prone, I don't have a close burst. Maybe I'll take the daily with a close burst. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Thank you, guys.
So,
and then I'll have the reach too. So if I use it for the rest of the, even if it misses, I still get reach.
Which one is that, Brian? What's it called?
Hang on, I gotta pull up the book.
Is it Sonic's book or the?
No, it's in the base.
It's not one of the ones I'm thinking of. Oh, it's not. Open the Gate of Battle is the one that I remember.
That's an encounter, which I'm totally doing. I love that power.
I don't know why you made me think of Astral Thunder again.
So I just wanted to point out.
Just throw my book on the ground.
What's it called? What's it called, Brent? Whirling Manta Step?
It is either, I can't remember, it is either Masterful Strike or Spinning Leopard. I think it's Spinning Leopard.
No.
So, Jeff, what were you going to say?
Oh, I just wanted to point out that more than half of our party has horns.
Yes.
So if we wanted to stay on sort of, you know, continuation of our classic party naming convention, we could be the Silver Horns.
I have silver hair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, your character has silver hair. I think we should be the Silver Horns.
No, I think you should be Ember's Flaming Fists.
No, it is a Masterful. It's Masterful.
I don't think we're going to name ourselves after your character.
Come on!
That would be the third campaign that has a silver theme to it.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah, we were the Silver Swords, then we were, you know,
The Argent Shadow.
the Argent Shadow. It's kind of our theme.
Well, and silver horn, like Cork said, Corey's character's got silver hair.
Maybe Brent's elf wears a silver earring.
Actually, the key focus. The key focus could have been made of silver.
Maybe we make Brent's character wear that.
I don't think
maybe
so.
we make them wear silver earrings.
Listen, if you want to be in the Silver Horns, you got to either have horns or silver. So,
yeah, you got to either have horns or some kind of silver head thing.
Oh shit! I'm picturing this poor elf being held down by two giant minotaurs while a child is
Getting some earrings into him. And he's putting them up here, you know, like instead of in the earlobe, he's putting them up on the high part of the
instead of cartilage piercing.
Yeah, cartilage piercing.
And the laugh that you just gave there, James, that was the laugh that Ember had while this was going on. Oh, jeez. Okay, cool. So I think, guys, I believe our characters are together. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outstanding. So I will. I need Dave's character, Brent's revised character, and Jeff's character. Oh, actually, I got everything I need for Jeff. If you want to,
you were writing it down, right?
Yeah, I did. So I just need you to spend your money. Is it?
Okay. Hey, Cap, I'll get you my character on. I gotta take off to the late tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, and I won't be back till Sunday evening. But I'll send them Sunday evening.
Yeah, please do. Just because I want to. The sooner I get these, I'm going to start getting them together. Just because I don't. Like I said, I do have to get. I got to build 10 hours tomorrow, 10 hours Sunday, then 10 hours each day during the week. So this moving took a real fucking bite out of my billable hours. But what do you call it? Yeah, well, that was really, really great, guys. That was took us almost the full 4 hours here. For next session 2, I would like to shift back to our normal start time of 7, because we're finding that we're getting started at like 8 instead, which is 9 Winnipeg time. If people show up late or they're running behind, that's fine. Just join when you can. But if we start at 7 or 8 Winnipeg time or 6 Vancouver time, that means we're done by 12. We're not running past, because wrapping up at around 12 o'clock Winnipeg time is late for a Friday for guys of our age, but it's not unreasonable. But when we're getting closer to like 12:30 and closer to 1, I think that probably fucks you guys over for your Saturday. I know it does for me, because I'm sleepy. So anyway, between now and then, I will send you guys lots of emails about this, because I got lots to say. I'll give you some more. If you have any specific questions about the setting or about any other things, don't hesitate to drop me a line. But for those listening at home, thanks so much for joining us for this very long character creation session. We hope that you found it enjoyable and educational, hopefully. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments regarding our characters that we came up with, the game we're playing, or anything like that, please do not hesitate to leave a comment in the section below, and I will endeavor to respond as early as I can. Otherwise, we will see you again in 2 weeks' time for the kickoff of the campaign featuring the Silver Horns.